College football and the College Football Association present a Big 8 clash between the Wildcats of Kansas State, who've come up Highway 77 to take on Nebraska. Nebraska at 6-0. Hello, everyone. I'm Mark Jones in the house. Actually, this week in the fraternity house. And welcome to the 84th homecoming game here at Nebraska. You know, it wasn't that long ago that Kansas State was everyone's homecoming weekend punching bag. But not the case anymore. In fact, over the last 4 years, nobody in the conference has played Nebraska tougher than Kansas State. For more on the football game, deep in the war room for the Cornhuskers is our Todd Blackledge. Todd, take it away.
Talking to coaches from both sides this week, it's obvious that something's got to give. You've got the #1 ranked offensive team in Nebraska going against the country's top-ranked defensive team in Kansas State, and I think it's all going to revolve around the option game. Now, what makes Nebraska so difficult to defend is that they can get in 6 completely different formations with different personnel groups and run the option from each one. You've always got to be conscious who has the quarterback, who has the pitch man. Now, that works against Kansas State defensively because they like to lock up their corners in man-to-man and pressure the line of scrimmage with blitzes from the outside. But against a team like Nebraska, you got to be careful. You can commit to the inside, and they can beat you for a touchdown on the perimeter. I think what you'll see from Kansas State, they'll be a little more choosy when to pressure this Husker offense. Mark?
3 undefeated teams in the conference. Back to John Saunders in New York. Back in Lincoln, downstairs now to Dean Blevins. Dean?
Guys, we have a pair of terrific head coaches who personify their teams. For Kansas State, Bill Snyder, he's an organization freak. No detail too small. He's taught the club winning is an attitude. Nebraska's Tom Osborne, the epitome of consistency. He's not flashy, but highly effective. Can't recall a top 8 team being a 24-point underdog and to have a chance at an upset. Kansas State quarterback Matt Miller must be more decisive against a pressure defense of Nebraska.
All right, Dean. Now, Nebraska received the opening kickoff. Clinton Childs knelt down, but did he kneel down outside or in the end zone? They're going to decide right now, and it appears as if the official's ruling says that they'll start on the 20.
Came out of the end zone. Therefore, it will be put in play on the 20-yard line.
So I think the ruling here is, where did the ball go? If his body came out, as long as the ball stayed in the end zone, boy, that's close. It looked like the ball and his left foot were clearly across that line. Almost a big mistake by Nebraska early in the ballgame.
A shaky beginning for Clinton Childs of the Cornhuskers. Childs very indecisive. Tommy Frazier, the starting quarterback for Nebraska, a 6'2", 210-pound senior from Palmetto, Florida. 7 of 14 last week and a couple of touchdown passes. Tommy Frazier, one of the leading Heisman Trophy candidates. 27-3 as a starter. That's impressive.
That says more about Tommy Frazier than anything. He is a winner. He's been a winner since the very first day he stepped on campus here in Lincoln.
All right, let's get this thing started. First down and 10 from the 20-yard line. Backside of the eye. They hand it off to the freshman, Amon Green, who gets about 2 yards. It'll be second down and 8, tackled by Deshaun Fogle of Kansas State, number 8. Now look at the chilly starting lineups. The backs and the receivers, Amon Green getting that carry, Todd.
When you talk to the coaches at Nebraska about Amon Green, they say he's a very good player now, but is going to be a great player. He does great things as a freshman. Tremendous lower body strength, has the ability to break tackles. That's something you want to watch with Green today.
Green out of Omaha, Nebraska, has exceptional speed. Backside of the eye on second down and 8. Here's Green again over the right side. Gang tackled at the 24-yard line. That Kansas State Wildcat defense really psyched up. Joe Gordon leading the charge out of the secondary. Let's take a look at the offensive line now for Nebraska. Dishman, Taylor, Graham, Ott, and Anderson up front.
Aaron Graham is the returning starter from that offensive line that was so good a year ago. One of the team captains, a real great leader for the Cornhuskers.
That offensive line, Todd, very much a surprise in how they've performed this year. A pleasant surprise.
Tom Osborne said they played better than he could have ever dreamed of. They're playing as well as the great line last season.
Third down and 6 for Nebraska. 2 tight end set, 2 wideouts to the top of your screen.
Watch for the option here.
That's what they do. Frazier on the pitch to Green. Green appears to be about a yard short of the first down. Back to New York, and John Saunders with this Buckeye update. John? You see, that wasn't Ohio State, it was Iowa State. And Closer game than expected right there. Push punting now for Nebraska. Mitch running, standing on his own 30-yard line for Kansas State. They come after it and almost get there. Running, calling for the fair catch on the run at the 42-yard line. So Kansas State beginning this game with very good field position. Starting quarterback for Kansas State is Matt Miller. He's a 6'1", 205-pound senior, transfer from Texas A&M, and redshirted before sitting out and watching Chad May for most of last season.
A little bit different than Chad May. He's a shorter quarterback, but he has the ability to run and scramble. May was pretty much purely a pocket passer. May gives him a little bit more of a dimension as a runner.
The backside of the offset eye on 1st down and 10. On the option to the short side of the field, this is Mike Lawrence, and he's tackled at the 43-yard line. Got about 2 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 8. A look at the chilly starting lineup, the backs and receivers for the Wildcats. Lawrence, number 20, getting the start. Lockett, the man to watch, a dangerous wide receiver.
Kevin Lockett, the leader on the team with 7 touchdown passes. When K-State needs a big play, Lockett is the guy they look to.
A good, talented group of receivers for the Wildcats. Second down and 8.
They're going to really have to communicate well, use some hand signals, because this stadium is going to get louder and louder as they see K-State trying to audible at the line.
Miller under pressure, brought down at the 40-yard line. A sack from Grant Winstrom, number 98, out of Webb City, Missouri. A loss of 3 yards on the play.
I think Winstrom likes playing against Kansas State. He had 2 of the team's 6 sacks last year when they played the Wildcats. It's going to come from the bottom of your screen. Just did a nice job getting around the left tackle, Chris Oltmann. And you can't hold the ball very long against this defense. They really get upfield quickly. They rush the passer, and you've got to make quick decisions and get rid of the football.
Sets up a 3rd down and 12 now. And that last sack got a huge rise out of the sellout crowd here at Memorial Stadium. Single back set. Quarterback draws the play they like to use, but this time it doesn't work. There's a flag down, though, at the 40-yard line. Grant Winstrom making his 2nd tackle of the afternoon.
Dead ball, delay a game on the offense. 5 yards, repeat 3rd down.
Take a look at the offensive line for the Wildcats. Going to be under heavy pressure from that black shirt defensive front today.
Kendall Jaycox, the left guard. He's probably the most athletic of the guys up there. 6'2", 295-pound sophomore out of Dallas, Texas. They're going to count on him a lot running to that left side.
3rd down and long. 3rd down and 17. The Wildcats opening drive of the ball game. Miller has time, and his receiver, Tyson Schweiger, falls down at the 47-yard line, hence the incompletion. So it's punting time for the Wildcats.
Schweiger and Miller are both looking for a flag. He looks like he got held up a little bit on the crossing route. I don't think he would have got the 1st down. However, there was good protection here. Watch Schweiger. He's the middle receiver. He's going to run a little crossing route, a little in route. He gets pushed right there, and they could have made a call that time. He was the intended receiver. The ball was on the money.
Fulman. Trying to bust it outside. Fulman still on his feet. Fulman is going to take it to the house. Touchdown, Cornhuskers. There's a flag on the play.
Well, I want you to watch a block on Joe Gordon, number 1. Take a look at number 1 as he comes in position to make the play. He's going to get clocked right here. The helmet comes off. It was the key block on the play, then a missed tackle by the free safety, Mario Smith. And credit Mike Fulman for knowing where the sideline was, staying in bounds. He was patient on that return, and he picked up 2 great blocks on the sideline.
Bowman taking it 79 yards. And the officials discussing what that flag was about. It may have been unsportsmanlike conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct will be administered on the kickoff.
It was that high stepping that started about the 15-yard lines. The call from Tom Allers, our official from Des Moines, Iowa today. And we'd like to apologize to our audience out there for being on our backup audio system, which is being fixed and is okay right now. Chris Brown in for the extra point. And Nebraska striking early. They lead 7-0. We'll be right back. Joe Gordon better call home because he just got his bell rung, Todd.
Well, there's Joe Gordon right in the middle of the screen, number one. He's watching the returner the whole way. He has no idea this block is coming. He's in the screen, then he's out of the screen. And part of the problem for K-State there was they had 4 coverage guys all bunched up in the same area. And once that one block was made, he had a good room on the sideline to take it to the end zone.
The officials tacking on that unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, hence Nebraska kicking off from its own 20-yard line. That was Nebraska's first punt return for a touchdown since October 8, 1988. Brown with the kick. This is Jimmy Dean. Jimmy Dean wants to get some. He returns it back to the 49 of the Cornhuskers. Downstairs, Dean Blevins. Dean?
Guys, who says blocking's not fun? The blow that Rucker just struck a moment ago not only had this crowd a buzz like I've never heard a crowd on a block, but when Rucker saw it with his teammates on the instant replay big screens, they just mauled the guys, so it paid off.
A team effort. This crowd's still a buzz.
Great field position again for K-State. Now, this has been something Nebraska has really pinned their opponents back for most of the season.
Miller finds his back in the flat. That's Lawrence, who makes it down to the 45-yard line. Let's take a look at the black shirts for Nebraska. Up front, Tomich, the Peter brothers, and Grant Winstrom. And a talented set of linebackers as well. Terrell Farley getting the start for Nebraska today. Ryan Terwilliger has been the starter, but Farley a little better against the pass. He's got 2 interceptions that he's returned for touchdowns. A guy that's been making big plays for this Husker defense. A JC transfer out of Columbus, Georgia. 2nd down and 6. The handoff up the middle. Lots of real estate ahead. And still on his feet is Mike Lawrence, running authoritatively, running for 16 yards and a first down. The Wildcats. Mike Minter, the strong safety, and Farley in on the tackle for Nebraska. First down and 10 for the 29-yard line. A look at the DBs for Nebraska. Tyrone Williams out of Palmetto, Florida, one of the key corners for them back there. Williams playing against his good friend, I might add, Kevin Lockett in this game. Two tight ends and a single back set. That's Lockett in motion to the top of your screen. Miller on the rollout, and it's dropped by Lockett, and he paid the price to boot. Todd, let's take a look at some of our game stories today.
Well, for K-State, first of all, they've got to protect the quarterback. Matt Miller, he's got a pretty good arm, but they've got to give him some time. You're also going to see him use him into bootlegs and sprint him out a little bit more. And on defense, they must stop the big plays. 15 yards or more, Nebraska is an explosive offense. You don't stop them completely, but you try to stop those big plays.
2nd down and 10. All at the 29-yard line. Hickson and Kelly in the backfield. Miller keeps it himself. Gained about 1 yard down to the 28-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 9 to go. Miller with very good mobility. Decision-making the key for him, though, Todd.
Big difference between the way Matt Miller runs the option and the way Tommy Frazier, though. Tommy Frazier has the 4.6 speed. He likes to get all the way to the perimeter of the defense. When you watch Matt Miller run the option, he has more of a tendency to try to look for a crease back to the inside. Let the defense pursue quickly to the outside. He likes to cut it back in. That time, good backside help by the Nebraska defense.
3rd down and 9. Black shirts with a sack on K-State's first possession. And Miller doesn't like what he sees, steps back and calls a timeout, wants to talk it over with his coach. Couple of undefeated teams in Big East, Big 8 conference play. 2-0. Nebraska leading 7-0 when we return. Stay with us. CFA College Football on ABC Sports brought to you by Chili's Grill and Bar, where steak lovers go for great grilled steaks. The Document Company Xerox, a simpler way to do good work. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. And Napa Auto Parts, we keep America running. Look at one of the many interesting structures being built on Fraternity Road during homecoming week. It is 3rd down, 9 to go for Kansas State. Out of the shotgun, Miller. Nebraska coming with a blitz, and it's complete for the 1st down to Kevin Lockett. That is why, folks, he is one of the best receivers ever to play for Kansas State. An 11-yard pickup and a 1st down.
Great read by Matt Miller, finding the single coverage and super concentration on the outside. Here's Lockett out here. He's going to go one-on-one, get past the 1st down marker, and make the great catch on the sideline. Miller's going to read the coverage. He sees he's got one-on-one with his best receiver. The nice throw to the sideline, and Lockett with the hands right at the sideline. Nice throw and catch, Miller to Lockett.
It sure was. Lockett now checking out of the game. Schweiger in motion. The toss to the wide side of the field. Lawrence stopped up at the 18-yard line by Grant Winstrom. We've said Winstrom's name 3 times already on tackles this afternoon. Out of Webb City, Missouri. Not exceptionally big at just 240 pounds, but they're emphasizing speed now at Nebraska defensively.
Yeah, they're big on the inside and they're fast everywhere else. You take a look at the Wildcats inside the 20. Pretty good percentage, 82%. They score 23 touchdowns. They really need touchdowns against Nebraska in this ball game. They can't settle for 3.
It is 2nd down and 12. Lawrence and Kelly, they go to the option. Lawrence brought down at the 18-yard line. There he is again. Grant Winstrom with his 4th tackle of the afternoon. You might want to keep an eye on that young man.
Take a look at their opponents. They've been in the red zone only 9 times, but they've scored 8 of them, 7 touchdowns. You got to remember, a lot of those games blowout type situations when their first-team defense off the field. I think their first-team defense, the black shirts from Nebraska, have been very stingy when the ball gets in their own territory. And Grant Winstrom is off to a great game. He chased that play down from the backside. He's a guy that plays with a lot of intensity. Right now, he's kind of taking control of things up front.
3 receiver set into the end zone. Open touchdown, Kansas State Wildcats. Kevin Lockett with an 18-yard strike. Matt Miller put that one right on the money.
Nebraska came with the blitz. Again, Matt Miller read the single coverage, and you can't throw it any better. Out over the outside shoulder, away from the inside defender, Michael Booker. A perfect throw and catch from Miller to Lockett. Those 2 guys have great chemistry together. The wide receivers for Kansas State are not all that fast. They're not all that flashy, but they have great communication between themselves and with their quarterback, Matt Miller.
An extremely talented group, and there you saw some of their skills. Martin Gramatica in for the extra point, and he misses it. So the Wildcats failed to tie with the extra point. Gramatica from Buenos Aires, Argentina, added strength this year to his leg, but that time lacking accuracy.
I was watching him before the game down the field. He was struggling a little bit on the field goal attempts. He was a little bit shaky going from side to side. Take a look at Kevin Lockett now. It's bump and run coverage. All he has to do first is make a good move to get by Booker. The ball's in the air before he's open. That's good work by the quarterback. And again, you see the throw out over the outside shoulder. Defender has no chance in the situation. Here it is again, man-to-man coverage, one-on-one. The quarterback reads it, the wide receiver reads it, and when you're going against bump and run coverage, you just have to escape. You have to make a move to escape at the line of scrimmage. That time it was done perfectly by Lockett.
Yeah, Todd, I don't think that ball could have been thrown any better than Matt Miller threw it. Osborne watching. You know, the sign of a good team many times is the ability to answer a score. Yeah. Kansas State coming back and answering that punt return touchdown by Nebraska.
Even more impressive on the road as well.
Dean Blevins, what's up downstairs?
Well, I think one of the things you'll see Kansas State doing today is that 3-step drop on that fade route, because they feel that will give Miller enough time to get it deep and Lockett can make the plays. One other note, guys, Lockett was not recruited or offered scholarships by Oklahoma or Oklahoma State. He's from Tulsa. He was a skinny 135-pounder coming out of high school.
That's what happens when you change their bed in the weight room. Feed them meat and potatoes, Steen. Clinton Childs with a return out to the 26-yard line. Some interesting things to watch from a Nebraska perspective, Todd.
Well, first of all, they can't have any careless turnovers. When you run the option, there's an inherent risk of the ball being on the ground, but you can't have careless turnovers in your own territory, and they must be alert for the quarterback, Matt Miller, scrambling. He's done that against every team this year. So far, they've contained him pretty well in the pocket.
All right, Nebraska with its H formation. 2 tights and 2 wideouts. They hand it off up the middle for no gain on the play. Amon Green stopped up right near the line of scrimmage by Dirk Ox and Travis, his brother.
This Kansas State team can really play defense, Mark. They're an aggressive defensive unit. They like to get in an 8-man look and have 8 men around the football because they have tremendous confidence in their 2 corners, Joe Gordon and Chris Canty, that they can lock up and play man-to-man. So they get a lot of pressure around the line of scrimmage. They don't pressure Nebraska as much as some teams because of the threat of the option. They can take themselves right out of a play if they get too careless.
Frazier throwing it complete. First down at the 37-yard line. And back to New York with John Saunders with this Big 8 update. John?
Well, Mark, and there's bad weather in the area, so this is the reason for the bad video here, but we still had to show you Troy Davis, 45 yards for his 3rd touchdown of the day. 2-point conversion is no good. He has 188 yards, but Colorado right now on the 1-yard line. We'll keep you up to date. They trail by 1. Mark.
Colorado looked so good, Mark, early in the year, but Kansas obviously exposed some weaknesses in their run defense, and Iowa State taking advantage of it today.
Yeah, you wonder if they're suffering from a Jayhawk hangover at this point. 6:05 remaining in the first quarter. Tommy Frazier on 1st and 10. Incomplete, intended for Reggie Ball at the 43-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 10, and let's take a look at that Kansas State Wildcat defense, the leading defense in the country. 8 starters returning from a year ago. Look at the front 7. Gaskin's a special type of athlete.
It really is. I mean, he's a very aggressive linebacker. He was a 7'5" high jumper for the track team. I mean, he's got great explosiveness, makes a lot of big plays for the Wildcats.
That's Purcell Gaskins, number 9. Keep an eye on him throughout the course of the day. Makovica, the fullback, Green, the I-back. Makovica takes it out to the 40-yard line, gains about 2 on the play, tackled by Gaskins. Nebraska likes to keep you honest by using that fullback once in a while, huh, Tom?
Yeah, you've got to respect the fullback. They'll run the fullback trap a couple times every game, and that sets up their option because then they can fake to the fullback and bring it out to the outside. Now at 3rd down and 9, 3rd and 8, I expect to see the option.
Not often that you see Nebraska in 3rd and long situations.
No, they average 7.9 yards a play, so very seldom are they in long yardage situations.
Frazier now audibling at the line. They option to the wide side. Frazier stays on his feet. Tommy Frazier got the first down on effort. A 10-yard pickup, and they move the chains.
That's all Tommy Frazier, Mark, because Kansas State was in position defensively to make the play. They anticipated the option. They knew it was coming, but you've got to put Tommy Frazier on the ground. You can see that even though he's only 6'2", but he weighs 210 pounds. Now watch. They've got a guy on the pitch, and here's the man right there, Steve Hanks. He's responsible for the quarterback. He came up and made a good tackle, but he didn't wrap him up. Frazier was able to take him for the first down.
15 yards from the end of the run. It'll be 1st and 10.
And we have a penalty against the Cornhuskers, which will take the ball back 15 yards, much to the chagrin of Tom Osborne.
When you play against the option defensively, you've got to be very disciplined. It forces you to stay in your disciplined position. That time, Mario Smith, number 4, he had the pitch man. You say, well, why didn't he tackle the quarterback? His job was not to take the quarterback. His job was to take the pitch man. The guy who was responsible for the quarterback was Steve Hanks, who was in there as the nickel back. He was in position to stop Frazier short of the first down, but didn't make the sure tackle.
All right, Amon Green, the lone back. 2 tights and 2 wides for the Cornhuskers. They drop back off the line. Frazier going up top. And it's incomplete, intended for Reggie Ball. Stride for stride was Joe Gordon, one of the best corners in the conference on the coverage.
And that is why Kansas State can afford to play aggressively around the line of scrimmage. Watch how they can put pressure on Frazier as he goes to play action, because they know Joe Gordon, we can let him alone. We think he'll run stride for stride. They get good pressure on the quarterback because they don't have to help their corners. Here's the corner. He looks in, he says, okay, it's play action. I'm not going to worry about the run. I'm only going to cover the pass. You can't play defensive back any better than that.
A couple of small guys, Gordon at 5'9", Ball at 5'7", but tall on talent. 2nd and 10. Frazier stuffed at the 28-yard line. This Kansas State team playing like they really have something to prove. We're in on the tackle.
They run to the football extremely well. They're not a real big defense, but they're aggressive. They have good speed. They get to the football. Take a look now at the bottom of your screen as the option comes right at us. Nice job by Wyron, just kind of holding his ground, and then he gets in on the tackle, and the rest of the white shirts get there to make the stop. That's a great play by Niall Wyron, just holding his ground on the end of the defense.
Got it. Now again, we see another 3rd and long situation for Nebraska.
Well, take a look at that number right there. Kansas State, one of the best in the country. Only 11% teams have converted against them.
Out of the shotgun, Frazier has set up the screen, and Amon Green has got some room. He got a key block and got the first down. Brendan Holbein, number 5, was in the neighborhood. May have sprung him loose after the 19-yard pickup by Amon Green. Mario Smith making the tackle for K-State.
Well, take a look. They're going to run the screen. There's Green. They're going to run the screen out this way. Tommy Frazier's just going to allow everybody to kind of come to him, let the screen set up, and there's a great block right there that they got Mario Smith, the free safety, down on the ground, and that was just all that Amon Smith needed. One block out on the outside, and he was able to pick up the first down.
Todd, we saw number 5, Brendan Holbein, as well. That's one of the skills that you pointed out of these Nebraska receivers. They can downfield block well.
When you run the ball as much as Nebraska does, and they don't throw it that often, wide receivers have to block.
Run the option again. Not over midfield into Kansas State territory. Gain of 1 yard. Tomorrow night on ABC, it's a brand new hour of America's Funniest Home Videos, followed by an all-new Lois and Clark. Then, Alyssa Milano and Connie Selica star in the world premiere of The Surrogate, the ABC Sunday night movie, all here tomorrow night on ABC. Be 2nd down and 8. Green and Makovica out of the eye. Reggie Ball split wide to the bottom of your screen. They option it to Green, who got a good block. And another good block by Ball. Amon Green with a first down at the 16-yard line of Kansas State. A 33-yard pickup, and tip your hat to number 7, Reggie Ball, downfield for the block. The tackle finally made by Gordon.
Reggie Ball gets a good block, and I want you to watch the fullback, too, Jeff Makovica, as he slips through number 22. Here he is on your screen. He's going to get the block on number 1, Joe Gordon. Joe Gordon was responsible for the pitch man, and that's all Amon Green needed. You can see the receivers and the backs blocking downfield. That's a trademark of this Nebraska offense. That's why a run that maybe is an 8 or a 10-yard run turns into a 15, 20, 25-yard run because of good downfield blocking.
And they have the ball, as a result, at the 16-yard line with 2:36 to play in the first quarter. The difference in the game is a missed extra point by Martin Gramatica, the 3rd missed extra point of the year for the Wildcats. And we have a timeout down in the field called by Nebraska and head coach Tom Osborne, who is voicing some sort of disapproval to the officials. Wow. A very demonstrative Tom Osborne, something you don't see very often from the stone-faced coach.
A lot of intensity, though. I mean, you know, he doesn't show very much, but he's a very intense football coach, a very strong disciplinarian. This program is very consistent. There's a lot of continuity within the program. I mean, they're impressive to watch on the practice field. There's not one wasted moment out on the practice field under Tom Osborne. They get a lot done. Probably they get as much done as anybody I've ever seen doing college football on a Thursday afternoon practice. They've got everybody moving, everybody working at the same time, and Tom Osborne runs a quality program here.
And a very energetic coach. Saw him working on the treadmill a couple of days ago, jogs 5 miles a day, works out on the weights. They're applying a little bit of tape to Tommy Frazier's arm. Frazier last year did not play in this game. If you all remember, he was suffering from that blood clotting problem. And the third-string quarterback, Matt Turman, ended up starting in this game. A 17-6 victory for Nebraska.
I don't think this is going to be a charged timeout because I think Tommy Frazier may have had a cut, something that was bleeding that they needed to cover up, so they weren't going to charge the timeout to Nebraska. You take a look at the current drive of Nebraska, 10 plays, 59 yards. I mean, you can't stop this offense. They're the #1 offense in the country. They average well over 600 yards a game. You just hope that you can limit their big plays, but Tommy Frazier, as you mentioned, Mark, he's the difference with this offense. When K-State played Nebraska last year, they were going against Matt Turman. They took all the options out of the offense. They ran 21 ISO plays where they just gave it to the tailback. They limited their offense about 50%, and K-State was able to keep them to 17 points. Against Tommy Frazier, it's a whole different ballgame because now you've got to be prepared to play the whole gamut of this offense.
One of the best option quarterbacks ever to play at this school, which is saying a lot. 2:36 to play in the first period. It's 7-6 Nebraska. Next Saturday, Greg Norman and the PGA's top money winners tee off in their richest event, the Tour Championship. And at 3:30 Eastern on ABC's College Football, most of you will see a Big 8 matchup, while other areas will enjoy other regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area, and call your cable operator for the games available on pay-per-view next Saturday right here on ABC. Still waiting for the ball to be snapped. Let's go back to John Saunders. John, back to the action, and that's the fullback, Jeff Makovica, plowing his way down to the 8-yard line. A pickup of about 6 on the play. Chuck Marlowe in on the tackle from his strong safety position. Marlowe, a 6'1" 190-pound senior. A consensus All-Big 8 pick this year and All-Big 8 last year.
We mentioned this is a long drive, the 11th play. Take a look at this graphic. 49 scoring drives, 2 minutes and 1 second the average time. 25 of those drives have only lasted 5 plays or less, so this is a real long drive for the Nebraska offense.
This is Clinton Childs. Childs stopped up nicely. Good pursuit by Kansas State. A tackle made at the 9-yard line. It'll be 3rd down. And about 4 to go. David Damon, a redshirt freshman, making the tackle. 3rd down and 2. Clinton Childs with his first tackle. 1:26 to play in the first quarter.
Power I formation. Still have to be alert for the option out of this set.
Vedral in motion. Tommy Frazier trying to make something out of nothing. Frazier lowers his hat and makes it down to the 4-yard line. He got the first down. Tommy Frazier did that on strength.
He did it on strength and he did it on instinct, Mark, because that was an option to the left all the way, and Frazier just made the decision. It wasn't open. He didn't think he could get the first down that way, reversed his field and did the rest on his own. Instinct told him to change directions. Strength got him the first down.
Something you can't teach. Tommy Frazier with that innate ability to just improvise.
He is the difference in this offense. Not to take anything away from Brooke Beringer or Matt Turman, but Tommy Frazier just offers you something running the football that nobody else can in this Husker offense.
And Frazier offers you poise and smarts and steps back and calls a timeout. A long and arduous drive, looking to be capped by the Huskers. We'll be right back with the ball for over 6.5 minutes on this drive.
Well, we mentioned their average scoring drive to date had been 2 minutes and 1 second. An impressive drive by the Cornhuskers, but credit also to the Kansas State defense, making them earn it. And when I talked to the two, they have co-defensive coordinators at Kansas State, Jim Leavitt and Bob Stoops. They said, we've got to make them snap and execute. We can't give them the easy touchdown. We've got to make them execute down the field. And so far, Nebraska responding very well to that.
Probably wouldn't find many stretches where the Wildcat defense has been on the field for this long either this year. 1st and goal. CC, Clinton Childs lowering his hat and making it down to the 2-yard line, maybe the 2.5. 35 seconds to play in the first period.
Clinton Childs is a good back for Nebraska down in this part of the field because he's a fullback with tailback speed and ability. He's the biggest of the backs, 6 foot, 215-pound senior out of Omaha. And he's the guy that he's worked at both fullback and tailback, but with the absence of Lawrence Phillips, has worked almost exclusively now at tailback. But he's got the strength to really play well in your goal line short yardage offense.
Yeah, strength and a body by Jake. We witnessed that at practice. Full house set. Childs. Fumble. Nebraska recovers for a touchdown. John Federal says, thank you very much. Look what I found. So the Cornhuskers come back and answer the score of Kansas State. Another look.
A great defensive play by Kansas State as they go with the power ISO. They're going to make a nice stick. You can see the ball was never clearly handled. The ball's bouncing into the end zone, and Kansas State had a good shot at it. And then John Bedrell found the football and made the touchdown.
Brown with the extra point. And the Nebraska Cornhuskers take a 14-6 lead. The drive using up 7:21 on the clock, which is the longest scoring drive of the season for Nebraska.
Nebraska got really lucky there, Mark. I don't think that they ever clearly made the exchange between Tommy Frazier and Clinton Childs. It was kind of a stretch play where the quarterback has to reach out to the tailback who's running away from him, and they're very fortunate that that ball bounced their way because they never did make a clean exchange.
The 206th consecutive sellout crowd here at Memorial Stadium. Very pleased right now as their team leads 14-6 with 2 seconds to play in the first quarter. This game has been highly anticipated and hotly debated for the last couple of weeks. Kansas State coming in here with something to prove, almost a bit of a chip on their collective shoulders. But so far, showing very well, although they trail 14-6. That's Jimmy Dean standing on the goal line, getting sent to return this kickoff.
You know, the one area of the game that you can't account for all the time, the kicking game. One touchdown that Nebraska has on the board, not from their offense, but from their punt return team.
And Chris Brown sends this one 8 yards deep in the end zone. The freshman from Southwest Texas, doing a great job this year for Nebraska. 1-yard line. And the Wildcats will start their offense on the 20-yard line. Well, they were able to answer the score last time. See if they can do it again as Matt Miller comes onto the field to look at the sea of red and white. Well over 77,000 in attendance today.
Matt Miller is a great competitor, comes from a football background. His dad, Les Miller, is a former player personnel director for the Kansas City Chiefs and now works for the World League of American Football. And he's grown up around the game. He's got great game instincts.
And he throws it up top. His receiver may have broken off the pattern, stopped at the 26-yard line. Kevin Lockett watched the ball sail over his head and out of bounds. 15 minutes are in the books in this Big 8 contest. 14-6 for Nebraska. We're back in Lincoln, Nebraska for the beginning of the second quarter. I'm Mark Jones along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins down on the sidelines. It's 14-6 as we begin the next 15 minutes of play. Matt Miller is 3 of 6 for 34 yards so far. It is second down and 10. The ball at the 20-yard line of Kansas State. Miller audibling at the line. 3-step drop and takes it himself on the quarterback draw. Gained about 2.5 yards out to the 22. And a look at the first quarter statistics.
Really nice job in the first half. The one that stands out, I guess, is plays right here. Nebraska, 18 plays to 12 plays. Part of that, they converted 3 third-down situations against this vaunted K-State defense. They'd only given up 11% conversions in their first 6 games. So Nebraska in that first quarter, 3 conversions on that long scoring drive.
Nebraska almost doubling the offensive output of Kansas State. 3 wide receiver set. Schweiger is in the slot. Flags down at the line.
This is a problem that they're going to have for the rest of the ball game, because the fans now have seen that Matt Miller likes to come up to the line of scrimmage. He likes to try to audible and check. And with the offensive linemen and the guys on the end of the line, they're going to have to rely on watching the football more than listening to the sound of their quarterback's voice.
False start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat third down.
Todd,
the false start, repeated the delay of game.
Todd, you've been in that situation before. You say the linemen have to watch the ball. How much does that get your offense out of sync, if at all?
Well, it hurts you because it gives the defense an extra second of a jump when they're rushing the passer. When you're going on sound, you have the advantage as an offensive lineman because you know what the count is, and they don't. When you're going with watching the ball, you're going at the same time as the defense. That gives the defense the advantage.
Third down and 12. Mike Lawrence to single back. A little waggle action. Miller got creamed, and the pass is incomplete. Nobody even near it either. Miller taking himself up off the rug. Man, did he get double teamed and whacked by Tomich and Terrell Farley. Here's another look.
Well, they're going to try to get it back to the tailback, Mike Lawrence. They're going to fake it to him and bring it on the bootleg, and hoping that the Nebraska defense would leave him alone on the backside. When Miller turned to look for Lawrence, there was 2 defenders out there. He threw the football away. Good decision by Matt Miller.
Mike Fullman is going to try and return this punt from James Garcia. Garcia's first punt was 44 yards one way, but came back the other way for a touchdown. And here's Fullman again at the 38-yard line. This time he falls down at the 39. A 44-yard punt again by Garcia. This time, though, just a 1-yard return. We'll be right back. Nebraska, Todd, with one of its better field position situations of the afternoon, starting on the 39 with 13:40 to play in the first half. Tommy Frazier is 2 of 4 passing for 31 yards, and he hands it off to Amon Green. Amon Green close to the first down at the 50, and downstairs to Dean.
Guys, it's an absolutely splendid day here in Lincoln, and normally in the Big 8 Conference, wind is a factor, and I haven't seen statistics on it, probably don't keep them, but I would guess that when wind is a factor, that 75% of the scoring is with the team with the wind. Today, you can see the flags blowing a little bit up top, but down here, it's absolutely perfect and not a factor.
Yeah, Dean, the wind didn't seem to bother your Oklahoma teams much when they played here, and I heard some of the fans giving it to you down there earlier.
Well, the laterals really weren't much of a factor with the wind.
Federal in motion. Little counter play. Here's Amon Green. Green met hard at the 48-yard line. Chris Canty, number 2, came in to make the stop along with Dwyron. Chris Canty leads the conference in interceptions with 4 this year. Last year, 94, was the defensive newcomer of the year in the Big 8.
We talked about Nebraska having such an explosive offense. Take a look at this. They've averaged, coming into the game, 7.9 yards a play. They've had 128 plays in the season that have gained more than 10 yards. They've already had a couple to add to that list today. It's an explosive offense, and it all revolves around number 15.
And they're averaging about 6 today. Amon Green stopped up again right near the line of scrimmage. Tim Colston, the All-American and All-Big 8 last year, making the tackle. Colston, 6'1", 275-pound senior from Tampa, Florida. Interesting story in that as a child he had to wear leg braces, and nobody thought that he'd be able to play much football. But he's turned into a great player. 3rd down and 7.
Alert for the direct snap to the tailback here.
It comes to Frazier, and he's going to take off. Tommy Frazier can get it done on his own. out to the 32-yard line, a 16-yard pickup, and a first down. Gordon and Hanks making the tackle for Kansas State.
One of the penalties that you pay for playing a lot of man-to-man defense is that somebody has to be responsible for the quarterback. Everybody's turning and running in coverage. You get out of your rush lanes a little bit, and Tommy Frazier makes you pay for it. I mean, he's just like having a tailback back there taking that shotgun snap. If he doesn't see something he likes right away to throw, he's actually more of a threat as a runner.
4 rushes today, Todd, for 23 yards for Tommy Frazier. On the option. Oh, and had he been able to keep his balance, he may have gone on for the score. A 12-yard pickup and move the sticks again. It's another Cornhusker first down. Gordon and Marlowe making the tackle.
Tommy Frazier puts so much pressure on the edge of your defense because of his quickness, his speed, his ability to get to the corner, and then as we've seen today, his strength, his ability to break arm tackles and gain 5 or 6 extra yards. He just puts tremendous pressure and stress on the perimeter of your defense.
Frazier tying his shoe. Backside of the eye. Schuster and Green. Schuster, the fullback, down to the 9-yard line. Tackled by Travis Ox.
Schuster being brought down by number 50, Travis.
Nice block in there by the left guard, Aaron Taylor, number 67, 6'1", 305-pound sophomore out of Wichita Falls, Texas. He's leading the block on that little trap play on the inside to the fullback. And you keep running Frazier to the outside, you get him thinking perimeter, and then you stick it to the fullback on the inside. Good mixture of play calling in the run game for Nebraska.
Yeah, 3 real talented fullbacks at that position, too. A couple of Makovica brothers and Brian Schuster.
Little confusion right now by K-State's defense. They're a little out of position.
Nebraska lining up with 2 tights. Bedrell in the slot. Frazier on the option. Pitches to Green, and that time they played it nicely. Canty coming up to give a little run support from the corner.
Yeah, great play by Chris Canty because he was being blocked. I mean, there was a guy out there, a receiver, that was responsible for blocking him. I think it was Brendan Holbein. And Canty fought off the block and was still able to come through it and make the tackle. And that's what you want your corner to do, be able to take on that blocker on the outside and make the tackle on the sideline.
And as a result, Todd, 2nd down and goal. Backside of the eye. Frazier passing. Is it a touchdown? Yes, it is. What a catch. Tommy Frazier put it right on the money. Boy, Sheldon Jackson went up high and got the feet down.
Well, they went with a little bootleg. Watch the touch Frazier has on this ball. Up and over the hands of Canty, but it comes down before the free safety Mario Smith can get it right on the edge of the sideline, and a good catch in the end zone.
Talked about their depth and fullback moments ago. Pretty deep at the tight end spot, too. 3 good ones. Gilman Carpenter, and that time Jackson. And Brown adds the extra point, and it's 21-6, Nebraska. Another look, Tommy Frazier weaving his magic and delivering a strike. Jackson with a little bit of action. We'll be right back.
Frazier, big, strong, fast, has great instincts, but he's throwing the ball a little bit better. And the main thing, I think, Todd, and one of the things you learned this week in doing some homework, is this guy understands this offense extremely well and gets them in good plays.
Well, he really does, Dean. You know, Turner Gill, his quarterback coach, was a great quarterback here, and they asked the quarterback to do an awful lot. He has to check something on every single running play.
Jimmy Dean for Kansas State, 1 yard deep. Tripped over the 7-yard line and falls at the 9. Another look at the touchdown.
Here's Sheldon Jackson. He's just going to run the corner route. Now run this play, and I want you to see what Tommy Frazier does at the end of this play. Frazier comes out on the bootleg. He's looking for Jackson. Now stop it right there. Stop it right there. Canty is in position to make the play. Watch the touch that Frazier lifts the ball right over the head and the arm of Canty into the hands of his receiver. If he throws it flat, it's an interception. He showed great touch in throwing the football on that play.
Something that Turner Gill said that Tommy Frazier is much improved at this year. Yeah, taking a little something off the ball at times.
You know, and getting back to the thing that Dean was talking about, the intelligence of Tommy Frazier and what they ask him to do in this offense. He comes up to the line of scrimmage, and you can see him. He looks at the line of scrimmage, he checks, he makes audibles. They do it up to 50% of the time, and what they're looking for is how is the defense lined up? Are they shading to a certain gap? Can we run a more effective play one way or the other? And he is responsible for getting them into good plays, good running plays, about 50% of the time.
Yeah, incredible smarts required to run that spot. Coming up next on ABC Sports, Major League Baseball's Fall Classic begins. Cleveland Indians taking on the Atlanta Braves in the World Series. The first pitch is next after the game, coming up on ABC Sports. Big fella, who do you like? I know you're
Go Tribe, baby.
an Ohio native. My man had his Cleveland Indians hat all week. Oral Hershiser going up against Maddox. A couple of great pitchers.
Here's our telling graphic for Kansas State right now. Through the first 6 games, they've done a great job on first down. 5.2 yards per play. Today, Nebraska shutting them down on the first play. They're only averaging 0.8 yards. They've got to do a much better job here in the rest of this ballgame if they hope to have a chance, because Nebraska, the strength of their defense is their speed and their ability to get you in situations, long yardage situations, and put pressure on the quarterback. To neutralize that, you have to have good mixture and good production on first down.
Matt Miller's decision-making has come into question at times during the course of the year. What do you think of his decision-making so far?
Well, I think his decision-making has been pretty good, but the problem is first down, they haven't had much production. They've got to do a better job making plays on first down.
And it's 1st and 10 from the 9. This is Eric Hickson with his first carry of the day. And he runs it out over the left side of the line, gaining about 3 or 4 yards. Farley and Coleman making the tackle for Nebraska. And Colorado, wow, have they stormed back or what? Leading big time now over Iowa State. Next week, of course, Nebraska taking on Colorado in Boulder. That'll be a pivotal game in conference play. Schweigert coming into the game now at receiver. Tyson Schweigert for Kansas State. Lockett lining up wide to the bottom of your screen. 4 receivers in for the Wildcats. Miller passing. Complete and hit immediately. At the 18-yard line. Be about 2 yards shy of the first down.
It's Mitch running. You know, these 3 wide receivers, Mitch running, Kevin Lockett, and Tyson Schweigert, none of them are spectacular in their speed or their flashiness, but they're all very consistent. They got great communication. Lockett coming into the game had 27 catches. Running had 27 catches. Schweigert just one behind him at 26 catches. So they're a very good group of receivers, very talented in terms of how they work together with their quarterback.
A big challenge, maybe the biggest challenge of the year so far for Nebraska's secondary on the option. On 3rd and short, it's stuffed by Luther Harden, number 58. The 6'2", 245-pound senior leading the way for the Blackshirts, much to the approval of this sellout crowd in Lincoln. Listen to it.
That's great defense. I'll tell you what, the defensive coordinator, Charlie McBride, has to be thrilled with his team's effort so far early in the ballgame, other than the one scoring drive where they gave up a couple of passes. Great pressure on the 3rd down and short. They forced Matt Miller to pitch it early, and he made a bad pitch. The tailback had to wait for the pitch. It was behind him a little bit, and the defense was there to make the play.
As a result, James Garcia in for his 3rd punt of the afternoon. And Mike Coleman, who's already returned one for a touchdown, standing on his 39. He did not call for the fair catch. Didn't see a signal, and he got creamed, and there's flags down at the 45. A 38-yard punt and nothing on the return. Dedrick Kelly, the fullback, lowering the boom on Coleman.
Well, the rule is in college football that you've got to give him a 2-yard area to make the catch. And even if he makes a fair catch signal or not, he has to have 2 yards spacing, and it can be kind of a judgment call because 2 yards to one guy may not look like 2 yards to the other. I'll tell you what, I think it's a bad call. I think he had room to make the catch. The guy who hit him actually was further away from him than Chris Canny was, who was blocked on the play.
Yeah, good point. And Coleman just got up and jogged off the field.
That's really a tough call to make because it's a judgment call. It's not like when he's standing out there, there's a little circle around him that says 2 minutes.
7:22 to play in the first half. Nebraska leading Kansas State 21-6. We'll be right back. Score 2 consecutive drives and leading 21-6 with 7:22 to play in the first half. Damon Benning now seeing his first action of the afternoon. Play fake. Benning. First down, Nebraska at the 27-yard line. A good play fake by Frazier. The tackle made by Purcell Gaskins, but not before Benning picked up 23.
And you can see that Tommy Frazier just has a real good feel for the game. The tight end, number 87, Gilman's going to be open as well. As Frazier looks back, he can either go to the tight end or the back running down the sideline. Benning was wide open. The tight end was open. He made a good decision going to Damon Benning. And you can just see that Tommy Frazier playing with a lot of confidence in this ball game, throwing the football, running the option. He is in complete control of this Husker offense.
Frazier,
you see him audibling and checking. That's what he does every play. They get him into good running plays.
And Amon Green is going to get positive yardage. And he carries the defender for about 5 yards for the first down after the hit. Truck Marlowe just got aboard, and he got a ride of about 5 yards. A 12-yard pickup by Amon Green with that smooth yet strong running style. He's run the ball 10 times now for a total of 68 yards, and it's a first down for the Huskers.
One of the things that the coaches told us about Amon Green is that he came out of high school and he could squat 560 pounds. He had tremendous leg strength as a senior in high school, and so he has the ability with that lower body strength to run through a lot of arm tackles. We saw it right there.
The give is to the fullback, Jeff Makovica, who carries the pile down to the 10-yard line. 6:42 to play in the first half, and coming up on the Prudential halftime report, John Saunders will have scores and highlights from all of today's action, plus a preview of the World Series. Game 1 tonight, Hershiser versus Maddox at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, right here on ABC. Boy, you know, when Nebraska gives it to the fullback, it's really hard to tell because he hits the hole so quickly, you just got to watch the pile. Amon Green, the lone back in the ace formation. It's 2nd down and 4. That's 2nd down and 5. It's Green. Little or no gain that time.
Nice defensive play by Niall Wyron, number 44. He read that counter trap. He closed it down right away and made the nice tackle for a very short gain.
So it'll be 3rd down now.
Take a look at Nebraska on 3rd down. They've been very effective in all 3 situations. In the short yardage, they're 1 for 1, 2 for 3 in that mid-range yardage, and then they've converted 1 long yardage situation. So that was one of the strengths of the K-State defense, how well they played on 3rd down. Nebraska having a day of it right now on that 3rd down situation.
Well, Tommy Frazier's made big plays for the Huskers on 3rd down so far. And here he is again. The shuffle pass. Amon Green with the first down and then some. Touchdown, Amon Green. You want to talk about strength? That's what I'm talking about. Amon Green showed it.
Exactly what we talked about, the tremendous lower body strength of Amon Green, the speed to get to the outside, and you just can't arm tackle the guy. You got bodies flying at him, but it doesn't move him. He bounces off of it and still keeps his poise and into the end zone. The only place you can tackle a guy like that is down around his ankles. You can't tackle him around the area of his thighs and hope to bring him down on the ground.
Nebraska, very efficient in 3rd down situations. They've converted the last 5 in a row.
Take a look now. Here's Green. They're going to run the little shovel pass. Tommy Frazier's going to set it up perfectly. They're going to pull the guard. Number 67, Aaron Taylor's going to lead. He's going to get a block. But Amon Green, you can't bring him down with arm tackles, and you can't hit him around the thighs and hope to stop him.
Dean, you've seen Nebraska play here a lot as a player. What do you think?
They're relentless, and I tell you what, this running back Green is destined for stardom. He's already an outstanding player, but very young. You know, Omaha has produced some unbelievable backs. Gale Sayers, Calvin Jones here at Nebraska. Sayers, of course, at Kansas. But the latest sensation is Amon Green. I think he'll be as good as you've seen in any time. Look at the quartet of I-backs, though, at Nebraska. Right now, Benning out of Northwest, Childs out of North, and Green and James Sims from Central. And Green makes the 4th I-back to start this year. I think he has started for most teams. What do you think?
I think so. You know what, Todd and Dean, if I'm Tom Osborne, I'm trying to think of a way right now how to keep him here for 4 years.
Good luck. And I I'll tell you what I'd like to find out. What's in the water in Omaha that they can turn out so many good tailbacks? Because that's an impressive thing that four guys that have all started and played a lot at the I-back position here for Nebraska all come from Omaha.
And that time, 2:01 used up on the last drive, is a little more symbolic of Nebraska drives this year. Chris Brown with the kick. That's Hickson at the 8, and there's a flag at the 30. Let's find out what this flag is all about. Kansas State really needing to regroup and get some semblance of offensive rhythm going here.
One of the things that's been a real strength for the Nebraska team this year has been their kickoff and their punt coverage teams, and we're going to see a penalty going against the kickoff return team of Kansas State, but Nebraska has so many speed players on defense, and a lot of them that don't get to play in the games, they run down on kicks.
Let's go back to New York and John Saunders. John, by the way, I'm glad that your stomach flu is a lot better than you. Bobby Bowden upset stomach.
Yeah. I want to go back to the point about their coverage teams, because Florida State's the same way. Miami, when they were playing as well as anybody in the country, they have so many fast defensive players, defensive backs and linebackers, and it's almost like a different challenge for them. If they can't be starters, they can at least go down and be great on kickoff teams, and I think that's what Nebraska has going for them this year.
Fumble right into the arms of Nebraska. Touchdown. Oh, baby, you talk about room service. That's it. Sign the check. Luther Harden had the ball come right into his arms on the shuffle pass.
But take a look at this play. Matt Miller is showing shuffle pass right away, and it's read perfectly. Chad Kelsey, the third-team defensive end, is in the ball game. He read the play, deflected the ball right into the hands of Luther Harden. Just a heads-up play by a young freshman, Chad Kelsey, who read the play and got the deflection.
Yeah, if I'm Harden right now, I'm going to go over to Kelsey and give him a little bit of love, because the ball bounced off of Kelsey right into Harden's arms. Couldn't have landed in a better spot for him. And as a result, things starting to slip away just a touch here from Kansas State. It's 35-6 with 5:09 remaining in the first half of play, Dean Blevins. What's up down there?
Well, it's a nightmare for quarterback Miller. You know, I think he made a couple of bad decisions on previous options. The crowd noise is really getting him toward the end zones, especially where it's louder than in the middle of the field, and they've been in the end zone. But, Todd, don't you agree that when the end gets up or the outside linebacker gets upfield so much, that's essentially an option play on that shovel pass, and you can't pitch it?
Yeah, you've got to really kind of sell the pass, Dean. You've got to encourage that guy to rush up the field. That time Miller was looking to pitch it right away, and credit Chad Kelsey. You're right. He read it and played it just like an option. In that case, Miller might have been better off to try to keep it and run to the outside of it.
Yeah, those ends for Nebraska defensively so quick. And now Colorado stepping up and defeating Iowa State. That one now a final. And no doubt the boys in Boulder will get back to their television sets and watch the rest of this game. Find out what's up with Nebraska.
That says something to me about the defensive coordinator, Charlie McBride, and how well-schooled and how well-coached this defensive football team is at Nebraska. As I mentioned, Chad Kelsey is the #3 defensive end behind Grant Wistrom and Mike Rooker on that side, and he read that play beautifully. He saw it was the shovel pass, he held his ground, and he ended up making the big play. When your third-team guy comes into the game and doesn't just run up the field and doesn't read his key, that's impressive.
Brown busts this one right through the end zone. And you can feel the thunder of the Big Red right now. They lead 35-6 with 5:09 to play in the first half. And look at Nebraska's first half possessions, a picture of efficiency and offensive output. A punt followed by 3 touchdowns.
Second leading scoring team in the country behind Florida State, averaging over 55 points a ball game. And take a look at the conference standings. Colorado with the win today ups their mark to 2-1. So still a couple undefeated. Kansas waiting to play later on tonight against Oklahoma.
4 wideouts. Matt Miller going up top, and it's batted away nicely by Tyrone Williams, #8. It was intended for Williams' good buddy Kevin Lockett. but he came over the top and batted it away.
That's just a perfect play by Tyrone Williams. He's the best cover guy. You see him turn to the outside. That's because he knows eventually he's going to have help from the free safety come to the middle, but he times it perfect. He sees his safety Veland coming over to help to the inside, but he read the football, timed his jump, and made the nice deflection. That's perfect play by the corner, Tyrone Williams.
What's a breakup between a couple of friends anyway, huh? Williams with a key play. He's out of Palmetto, Florida. 5:02 remaining now. 2nd and 10.
See, Nebraska's baiting Matt Miller right now. They're showing blitz, and then they're dropping into zone.
And Tyson Schweiger, Todd, going low on the carpet to come up with a catch at the 26-yard line. A pickup of 6 yards. And look at Kansas State's first half possessions. A punt, and the missed extra point after the touchdown. A couple more punts and a pick.
Look at that. Only one drive with more than 3 plays. They had one drive that was 8 plays. Everything else 3 and out, and then 1 play in the interception. You can't give the ball back to Nebraska in your own territory that quickly, because they will make you pay with touchdowns on the scoreboard.
Todd, that's Terrell Farley shaking up on the sidelines, getting his first start of the day. 3rd down and 4 to go. Miller incomplete. Intended for Mitch Running. And it's punting time once again for the Wildcats. Things getting kind of wild in Lincoln. Next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC's College Football. Most of you will see a Big 8 matchup, while other areas will enjoy other regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area. And call your cable operator for the games available on pay-per-view. That's next Saturday, right here on ABC. Garcia with his 4th punt of the day. And Mike Fullman standing on his own 35. And they fake it, and they get the first down. The pass complete to Dedrick Kelly, the fullback. A little prestidigitation. Trick play. And a first down by K-State.
Nice job by Garcia. They needed something to happen good for him. He actually could have gone outside too, but he made the good decision, throwing to the guy lined up in the tight end position, and a big first down to the fullback, Dedrick Kelly, and that was something that Kansas State had to have. Prior to that play, they had only had 64 total yards offense in this first half.
Terrell Farley back in the game now for Nebraska. They fake the handoff. Miller complete to the near sideline on the out pattern to Tyson Schweiger, who picks up 11 yards. Schweiger out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, had a 12-yard touchdown catch last week. And their victory over Oklahoma State. Tyrone Williams in on the coverage. Miller throwing a nice ball that time.
Yeah, nice throw. He got his feet out from under him. He had good vision downfield and made a nice strong throw to the sideline.
First down and 10, 3:45 to play in the first half. Kansas State very much in need of a score here, and I'm not talking about a field goal either. Nebraska storming back with 28 unanswered points. Flags down, could be offside Nebraska. Lockett could not hang on. He'd gotten a step on Michael Booker, the DB, but couldn't hang on to it.
Nice idea. Nice idea to try to go ahead and get the play. I think Lockett may have hurt his shoulder. He kind of landed hard on his right shoulder at the end of that play, but they knew they had the offsides penalty. They went ahead and tried to make the throw downfield, but certainly right now a lot of concern because they can't afford to lose Kevin Lockett. If they've got a big play guy, it's Kevin Lockett.
As if this day hasn't gone badly enough.
Offside on Nebraska, 5 yards, repeat first down.
Back to John Saunders in New York. Finally having the type of season that many people expected and hoped he would have down in Austin, Texas. Longhorns have an impressive 5-1-1 right now. Right here we have 3:27 to play in the first half. Nebraska leads 35-6. And Lockett is up off his feet.
Take a look at the end of this play. It was a good throw by Miller, but Lockett couldn't come down with it. And as he goes to the ground, he lands on his right shoulder with the defender on top of him. And you see that a lot. It's just double the impact hitting on this hard turf as well.
Hickson and Lawrence split behind Miller. Out of the backfield, intended for Mike Lawrence, and it's low. It'll be 2nd down and 5. At the conclusion of today's game, we'll be selecting a genuine Chevrolet most valuable player of the game from each team. To date, Chevrolet has contributed almost $5.5 million to the scholarship funds of America's colleges and universities. Right now, several candidates up for that for Nebraska. 3 wide receiver set. 3:23 to play in the first half. The handoff to Hickson with room. Hickson dancing his way down to the 28-yard line, an 11-yard pickup, and a first down for the Wildcats.
Nice play called the draw. Look at these ends, how wide they are. They're going to rush upfield. Nice job calling the draw. Get those guys rushing up the field, open up a nice running lane, pop it through there for the draw on the first down. Good play call by offensive coordinator Dana Dimmel.
First and 10 at the 29. K-State's deepest penetration since early in the first quarter. The blitz coming. And missing Miller. Incomplete. Boy, Matt Miller was on the run, had a receiver open, but Booker came back, and it hit him in the head. He used his head, literally.
Well, Booker did a nice job because he was beat at the end of this play. Whenever the quarterback scrambles, a wide receiver is going to adjust the route. Here comes the blitz by Terrell Farley. Great pressure by Nebraska, and Matt Miller just buys some time. Now, you see the receiver turn upfield. Booker's beat, but because Miller was under so much duress, he couldn't get enough on this throw, and the ball came up short and hit Booker. Had he been able to set his feet, he could have thrown that for a touchdown.
Miller, Todd, 6 of 15 for 56 yards. Miller audibling again in spite of all the noise from the sellout crowd. Oh! Miller almost decapitated that time by Jared Thomas.
You see Matt Miller complaining to the official. In the NFL, that's a penalty. If you hit a guy up around the head, that's going to be a penalty. There's Tomic right there. He's going to just run right around the right tackle, Scott Hune. Now watch right here. He gets hit right in the face. Now either you call that hit to the head or you could have even called maybe a face mask on that play. It's a great pass rush by Thomas, but you would hope that the quarterback would get a little bit of protection in the pocket when in terms of getting hit up around the face. In the NFL, they call that all the time. It's not the same rule in college football.
Yeah, you really hate to see an unprotected quarterback take a hit like that to the head. Tomic playing extremely well right now. They come with the blitz. Farley. They dump it off, though, Kansas State, to the back. Hickson. Good downfield blocking, and Hickson is down to the 17-yard line. He has another Wildcat first down. Booker making the tackle.
K-State may have to take a timeout just to let Matt Miller regroup a little bit because he's taken a pummeling here the last 2 or 3 plays. Watch again. Terrell Farley comes unblocked on the blitz. He gets hit. He goes down to the ground, and Matt Miller right now has probably got a few cobwebs in his mind. They may need to take a timeout after this play just to let him get a drink of water, get a little relaxed.
Dean, what do you think?
Well, finally, excitement here on the Kansas State sideline. Snyder in the official's face looking up saying, "Official, can't you see the replay on that non-call of 2 plays ago?"
Miller, whipped or not, looking to pass. Nobody home. And number 9, Tony Veland, had he a few more steps or a little better beat on that pass, might have had an interception. It'll be second down and 10 to go for Kansas State. And now Miller may be getting a bit of a breather after the incompletion. 1:23 to play in the first half. And Matt Miller has taken some hits today.
And those hits really start to add up, Matt. What happens is, you start to find yourself, whether you know it or not, kind of short-arming some throws because you feel the pressure. Ideally, as a quarterback, what you want to do is you want to have your vision, your eyes downfield, and feel the rush. But when you get hit hard like that a couple times, you start looking for where the rush is coming from.
All right. Tight splits by the receivers this time, and Miller calls for a timeout. Can someone please give me a break, the quarterback says. We're going to take one. To be right back. A few moments ago, we saw Matt Miller take a shot to the head, and boy, wasn't a penalty.
Well, the rule is that you're not allowed to deliver a blow to the head intentionally, and it's up to the ref's discretion. And I'll tell you what, that was as close to being a deliberate blow to the head as anything I've seen. Matt Miller sure thought it was.
And so did his head coach, Bill Snyder. This is the 12th play of the Kansas State Wildcat drive. The drive kept alive by a fake punt completion. Miller, complete and brought down immediately. John Hesse. And here's another look at that hit from Tomic.
Watch Tomic, number 93 at the bottom of the screen. Made a great job, great pass rush, a speed rush around the outside, and I don't think he necessarily tried to hit him in the head, but his arm got up in that area, and he kind of necktied him. It was a great rush and a great play by Jared Tomic, but probably should have been a flag on the play. Nonetheless, Kansas State has another third down and long situation against this pressure defense of Nebraska.
Audibling once again, in spite of the noise. Out of the shotgun, Miller. Complete to Mitch running at the 17-yard line. Short of the first down. They've got to get down to the 7-yard line. The tackle made by Michael Booker. Booker was beaten early on Kansas State's only touchdown of the game so far by Kevin Lockett. But since that time, he's come back and done pretty well.
Nebraska went to what a lot of pro teams do in this area of the field. When you get inside the 20-yard line, even if you're a high percentage man-to-man coverage team, when you get inside the 20, you play a lot of zone. Now, they're just going to drop off in zone here, and Booker, they're going to force the pass to be thrown underneath. Matt Miller wants to go to the end zone, but zone defense took away the deep route. All he has is underneath, and it's a nice, sure tackle by Michael Booker. Good play call or design by the defense, calling for that zone defense deep in your own area, forced to throw underneath and make the good tackle.
We're in a timeout right now. Neither team with timeouts remaining in the first half. 27 seconds to play. Tom Osborne, the epitome, pretty much symbolizing all of what Nebraska football is about. His team leading, and on the other sideline, Bill Snyder, the winningest coach in Kansas State history, hoping for a breakthrough victory today for his program. It would be a breakthrough victory. They've lost 23 consecutive times to Nebraska. Scratch that, make it 26 consecutive times. Next week, of course, Nebraska traveling to Boulder to take on Colorado. Colorado winning today against Iowa State.
Kansas State going for another fourth down play on the season. They've been very effective. They're 13 of 15 on fourth down conversions. They're 1 for 1 today. They were 5 for 6 last week against Oklahoma State. Little confusion, though, getting a guy in the ball game late.
Strange, especially after a timeout. And there was movement by the left tackle, Altman. Hard to see why or understand why.
False start on the offense. 5 yards, repeat fourth down.
Hard to understand why there'd be confusion after a timeout situation, but there was.
Unless it was a design thing to try to run the guy on a little bit late, you know, and catch the Nebraska defense fooled. But again, the crowd noise, the offensive tackles at a disadvantage. They can't hear the quarterback signals. They've got to look inside to see the football. They can't go on sound. They have to go on sight.
They've got to get down to the 7-yard line. Miller won't even be close. Sacked again by Tomic. The third sack of the afternoon by the Black Shirts. And they take over on down.
Jared Tomic is the leading sacker on this team. You can see just bad footwork by Scott Hune. He's got to just get himself into better position. He knows that Tomic has the speed on that outside rush. He's not doing anything tricky. He's just using his speed to run up the field and around the tackle, Scott Hune.
Taking a look at these Nebraska players over the last couple of days during their workouts and around the facilities here, I don't think I've seen a better conditioned team this year.
Those guys, defensive linemen, those guys were crazy too. We were out on the practice field Thursday. It was windy and cold. Everybody's out there in sweatshirts and sweatpants, and the 4 starting defensive linemen, all they had on was mesh tank tops and no t-shirt underneath.
Well, when you got all that beef covering your bones, I guess you don't get cold. Right now, the Big Red hot. After the first half, they lead 35-6. Lots now to the end zone. Dean had an opportunity to speak with Kansas State head coach Snyder. Dean?
All right, Coach, what can you tell your troops? A rough first half for you.
Well, you know, we were up here 2 years ago, 17 down at the same time, and came back and made it a 31-28 ball game. late in the fourth quarter. So we got a chance to come back. We're just not playing very good. We're playing a great football team in Nebraska. We've got to be a heck of a lot better and not make the mistakes and make some plays. If we do that, maybe we can get back in the ball game. But remains to be seen.
Thank you, Bill. Good luck.
All right, the deficit not 17 this time around, more like 29. Miller incomplete, almost picked off by Tyrone Williams. And a look at the first half numbers that indicate Dean had an opportunity to speak with Kansas State head coach Snyder. Dean?
All right, Coach, what can you tell your troops? A rough first half for you.
Well, you know, we were up here 2 years ago, 17 down at the same time, and came back and made it a 31 to 28 ball game late in the fourth quarter. So we got a chance to come back. We're just not playing very good. We're playing a great football team in Nebraska. We've got to be a heck of a lot better and not make the mistakes and make some plays. If we do that, maybe we can get back in the ball game. But remains to be seen.
Thank you, Bill. Good luck.
All right, the deficit not 17 this time around, more like 29. Miller incomplete, almost picked off by Tyrone Williams. And a look at the first half numbers that indicate a lead for Nebraska.
Well, the one that stands out, Mark, right here, the rushing yardage, 139 yards for Nebraska, only 9 yards rushing for Kansas State. Coming into the ball game, Kansas State had held teams to under 100 yards rushing. Nebraska, you just can't stop that vaunted running game. We talked about Kansas State had to protect their quarterback in the first half. 3 sacks and 5 pressures, and they gave up 4 big plays. 2 rush and 2 pass plays over 15 yards. So, as Coach Snyder indicated, they didn't play very well in that first half.
Hickson on the handoff is brought down at the 23-yard line that time by Grant Winstrom, number 98, who, by the way, has played exceptionally well in the first half. Look at Kansas State's offensive leaders in the first half. Miller was just 9 of 19. Had 1 picked off to go with a touchdown pass.
A lot of that, the great pressure by the Nebraska defense. You take a look at that first half. They had the longest drive. They weren't able to convert into any points. The last drive right before the half, couple 3 and outs.
4 wideouts on 3rd and long. Miller cuts it back up, picks up a block, and is brought down at the 29-yard line. He's about a yard shy of the first down. And Kansas State, well, they might think about this one. Another look at it.
Jamel Williams is the guy who's going to make the final tackle on this play. As you watch Miller read the defense, he's a good scrambler. This is a dimension he brings to the offense. But Jamel Williams is in there playing the linebacker position. He's a 10-5 sprinter. There he is, number 28. They put him in the dime defense because he has the great speed. He's listed as a linebacker, but he runs as fast as any of the defensive backs. Jamel Williams, a good play on that play.
4th down, 1 to go, and 5 wideouts. And Miller peeks at himself, and it appears as though he got the first down. You would think they would gain a little bit of confidence getting that first down on their first possession of the second half. Just underway here in the second half. I'm Mark Jones along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins down on the sidelines. Nebraska leading 35-6. Tyson Schweiger in the slot left. Pass in the flat, almost picked up, but Schweiger caught it. Schweiger run out of bounds at the 39-yard line. The Nebraska defender gambled that time. It was number 10, Mike Minter. He went for the interception and paid the price, a 30-yard pickup.
Yeah, Minter is going to go for the interception. You're exactly right, Mark. It's good protection, a nice throw to the outside, and that's why it's a game of inches. Minter goes for the interception. He can't make the play, and Schweiger turns it into a big play. Take a look at it again. A short 3-step drop, throwing the out route. It's a long throw to the opposite sideline. That's why Minter thought he had a chance to make the play, but good concentration by Schweiger. He's been battling a little pulled abdomen muscle. I think he aggravated again trying to run down the sideline on that play.
Backside pressure, and Miller is brought down hard by Farley. That's why he's in the game. He makes plays. The 4th sack of the afternoon for the Huskers. Terrell Farley making his first start of the season, the JC transfer out of Columbus, Georgia.
Terrell Farley's right here. He's coming from the outside as a linebacker blitz. He's got the great speed, and he just used that speed to run around the left tackle, Chris Holtman, and then he just chased the play down from the back. Miller had no idea that he was being chased from behind, that time by Farley. Farley showed the speed and the acceleration to the football.
Second down and 22 to go for Matt Miller and the Kansas State Wildcat offense. This time he has a little time and steps up. Oh! Taking another hit. Michael Booker booked him.
And he looks a little bit hurt this time now. He's taken some shots today. And I talked to Ron Hudson, the quarterback coach from Kansas State, and this is his first year on the staff. He was at Ohio State for 6 years before coming to K-State. And he said about Matt Miller, he says he's the most competitive guy that I've ever coached, the most competitive quarterback I've ever been around, and that's what this is right now. I mean, this is the competitor of Matt Miller coming out. He's not been able to stand in the pocket and throw the football too effectively today, but he's doing whatever he thinks he can to get his team some points on the board, and he's paying for it physically.
Discretion is the better part of valor. He is taking some shots. 3rd and 16. Schweiger in motion. Miller picked off by Booker. Michael Booker, who made the last hit on the quarterback, Miller, picks that one off, and Nebraska has the ball at the 42-yard line of K-State.
I think the wear and tear of the game is really starting to wear down Matt Miller. This time he makes a bad decision where he's going with the football. The receiver was running a deep route. He was looking right in that area and basically threw the ball right to Booker. That's just a tough decision that time by Matt Miller, trying to pick up the long 3rd down situation.
Makovica and Amon Green out of the eye for Tommy Frazier. Nebraska's first possession of the second half. Green trying to get to the corner, and he does. Green is on the loose. Amon Green brought down at the 8-yard line. There's a flag down, though, at the 12 and at the 18. Chuck Marlowe finally making the tackle for the Wildcats. A pickup of 34 by number 30.
I think they're going to get Brendan Holbein, the wide receiver, for a hold downfield. We talked about the wide receivers, how well they block downfield. That time, maybe a little too much effort by Brendan Holbein is going to bring this run back a little bit.
There's a look at Amon Green out of Omaha. Boy, when he gets on the corner, he is so very dangerous.
Well, he has great speed, Mark, but it's a deceptive speed. You mentioned his smooth running style, and what that does is it forces defenders to take bad angles in pursuing him.
On Nebraska, we have face mask. On Kansas State, offsetting, replay the down.
Really too bad if you're a Nebraska fan. With those penalties, takes the play away.
Again, Tommy Frazier on the option. This is a designed pitch. He wants to get the ball to the outside, and right there in the front of your screen is Brendan Holbein, number 5. They got him with the holding call. You can see the hands on the back of the jersey, and then a face mask on the tackle, and that play really benefits Kansas State, the offsetting penalties, because it puts it back to the original line of scrimmage.
Amon Green, who last week had a 9-yard touchdown run against Missouri. A man with 10.5 speed. It's run 12 times today for 72 yards. Frazier with time, man open, incomplete, but there's a flag down at the 10-yard line for the tight end, Mark Hillman, who had Marlowe beaten by a step. And it's against Kansas State, pass interference.
Take a look at this play coming at you again. They run the option. Now they fake to the fullback, and Tommy Frazier comes down the line and then steps back, throwing play action. He had his tight end open. There was a little hold by the strong safety, Marlowe, there right before the ball was in the air, and that's what the official caught. Take a look at this. 185 consecutive games the Cornhuskers have won when they've scored 35 points or more. They scored 35 in the first half of this ball game. I'd say the numbers are in their favor. Whenever you win that many games in a row, when you score that much, you're doing something right.
The give is to Amon Green, who had that nice run called back just moments ago on first down. And Dean Blevins is downstairs. Dean?
Guys, updating the injuries in the ball game. Kansas State's number 98 defensive tackle Ray Engel twisted an ankle earlier, but he is obviously back and he will play unless he retwists it and is much worse. Now Miller, the quarterback's really felt pretty rattled. I was over there when he came off the sidelines, and trainers were around him. He seemed a little confused and winded, but he will return. And Nebraska, no injuries.
That's what Tom Osborne wants to hear. Thanks, Dean. Green to the short side of the field, this time sprung out. And Mariel Smith, the hitman, a.k.a. the hitman for Kansas State, making the tackle for the Wildcats.
Let's take a look again at what we talked about, what Nebraska had to do. They couldn't afford a careless turnover. They didn't turn the ball over. Secondly, they had to be alert for the quarterback scramble. Matt Miller, minus 15 yards rushing, and he was sacked 4 times. They contained the quarterback in the pocket.
And a look back at Nebraska's offensive leaders and their first half possessions. 3 consecutive touchdowns before the end of the half.
They're just so explosive. They can explode on you at any time. That's why you can stop them.
Offensive records by that 83 team. Frazier, incomplete for Vedral, who's looking for a pass interference call and doesn't get it. Tommy Frazier wants one too. Mariel Smith says, no way.
See, if you're a defensive coordinator, you want to see that. You want to see Tommy Frazier in the shotgun throwing drop-back passing, because that is not the strength of this Nebraska offense. Here's the crossing route, John Vedral. We saw the same play early in the ball game with a Kansas State receiver running across the middle. He got pushed from behind. No call in the first quarter, no call here in the third quarter.
Kansas State then taking over on downs. Ball to 31, Eric Hickson, the lone back. 2 tights and 2 wides. That's Lockett in motion. And Miller, now where have we seen this before? Sacked by Jason Peter. He is Peter built, and Peter tested tough. One half of the Peter brothers, and this one's going to be against Kansas State.
This is just an ugly play all the way around. They called a quarterback draw. This was a design draw for the quarterback, Matt Miller, to run, but there was also holding on the play. There was so quick penetration by both Christian and Jason Peter.
Kansas State, 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
So much penetration early on the play that they not only was the play snuffed out and killed early, but a penalty on top of it.
As a result, Todd, the ball moved back to the 16-yard line, setting up first down and 25. 8:46 to play in the third quarter. The Cornhuskers leading 35-6. Matt Miller having a tough day at quarterback. The blitz coming, and they get to him again. The 5th sack of the afternoon. And Miller is seeing nothing but red in his face all day. Grant Windstrom and Doug Coleman there to lower the boom.
Well, it's kind of like a jailbreak right now, Mark. I mean, you know, Nebraska right now knows they have the game pretty well in hand, and so when they get in these long yardage situations, all they're doing is thinking about getting to the quarterback. They're rushing 4, maybe they're bringing 1 extra guy, and they're really coming after the quarterback. And when you have a quarterback that stays in that same place all the time in the shotgun, they can kind of hone in on it. 5 sacks today for the Cornhuskers. This is this plays right into their strength. Get you in long yardage situations and then really come after the quarterback.
Second down in Omaha to go. And another loss of yards for the Wildcats. Christian Peter, number 55, and Doug Coleman there to force Miller down. You have to feel for Matt Miller today.
That was another quarterback draw, but I mean, they called the quarterback draw to try to take a little bit of that pressure off, but he can't even get back to the line of scrimmage. The penetration on the inside is so quick that they can't even run a draw play right now.
Dean, I'm sure you've had days like this.
I sure have. You know, Miller is getting hammered down after down. He was so confused at the last play. He was trying to walk out the field and then realized it was only 3rd down. Without better offensive line play, no chance.
They hand it off on 3rd and 38 to Eric Hickson. And Dean, you know what? You're probably right. Miller just probably wanted to get out of there on 3rd down. A great defensive stand by the Blackshirts.
I think a little bit of pride coming out now with the Nebraska defense. Kansas State came in here with the #1 ranked defense in the country, the #1 ranked scoring defense. I think this Nebraska defense has said, hey, we think that we've got a pretty good defense here in Lincoln as well.
James Garcia punting from the shadows of his own goalpost. Mike Fullman, one of 3 punt returners for Nebraska. A low returnable punt. This is going to be Fullman. Comes right up the middle and ends up on K-State's side of midfield. A 12-yard return after a 55-yard punt. Stay with us. We'll be right back. For the 84th homecoming contest, Nebraska leading easily. Trying to preserve their 27-game home winning streak here. And look at what they've done on first down plays. First and 10 at midfield for the Big Red. And give it to the fullback, Jeff Makovica, 5'11", 225-pound senior from Brainerd, Nebraska. Got a younger brother who also plays on the team, Joel Makovica. Look at Charlie McBride on the sidelines, and Dean Blevins, what do you have to say about it?
Well, that last series when his defense came off, he was all smiles. He came over and talked to the Peter brothers and a couple of the others, and he said, guys, but you didn't see my hand signal. When I do this, it means go. And when he walked away, I said, Coach, what does that terminology specifically mean? He goes, that means we're going to get the quarterback. So I guess, you know, defensive linemen, they don't need too many intricate signals.
Pretty complex stuff. The Peter brothers, a great story. Something we'll get into a little bit later as we look at the rushing comparison. It's homecoming week in Lincoln, Nebraska. And the alumni loving what they see so far. We'll be right back. Number 95 is Jason Peter. The other good-looking ball-headed guy is his older brother, Christian Peter, number 55, and 2 people over, by the way.
Well, look at all those bald heads. You know, yesterday I was walking by the locker room and they were pulling Mike Rooker in there. I think they were going to shave his head. He had not gone with the program to that point, but they were getting him yesterday.
There's no Lion team. Nice bullet pass by Tommy Frazier. Complete to his tight end, Mark Gilman.
And see, that's where Tommy Frazier is most effective as a thrower. Fake the play action, roll outside the pocket, and find something to do. He's not a pure pocket passer, but when he comes out on the counter fake, now he gets to the edge of the defense. He can either run it or stop and throw back. Does a nice job resetting his feet, finding his tight end, and the big tight end goes up and makes the catch.
Frazier today, 6 of 10, total of 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. First down and 10. 5:15 remaining in the 3rd period. Amon Green running off tackle over the left side, picking up about 3 yards. 15 rushes today for him for 76 yards.
When you play Nebraska, Mark, I mean, their offense, a lot of people think that their running game, because they run the football so much, that it's boring or a simple offense. It's not simple at all. In fact, I would venture to say that Nebraska's run offense is every bit as complex as a BYU passing game or a Florida passing game. They do a lot of different things in their running game. They ask their quarterback to do a lot. They mix the power, ISO-type running with the option. It's a very complex running game, and they just wear you down. They find your weakness, and then they take advantage of it.
2nd and 7. That's the weakness. Wide open. John Federal, touchdown. They found a weakness, all right. 32 yards into the end zone. John Federal, the junior from Gregory, South Dakota, with the touchdown catch. A former walk-on who earned a scholarship in August. Chris Brown with the extra point. It's good. 4:31 to play in the 3rd period. Federal with a touchdown. We'll be right back. Football on ABC Sports brought to you by Chevrolet. The cars and trucks 36 million people depend on every day. Genuine Chevrolet and Chili's Grill and Bar, where steak lovers go for great grilled steaks. Look at some of the mannequins being built along Fraternity Road during homecoming week.
Kick around.
Kickoff into the end zone. It's being brought out by Mike Lawrence. Lawrence has a bit of an alley. Lawrence brought down at the 49-yard line, so a nice return before he was tackled by Riley Washington. And a guy who's got a little bit of speed himself, John Saunders. Oh, nice, that is. John, 4 wide receivers on the option now. That's Hickson. Brought down at the 44-yard line. A pickup of about 5 yards. Nice run by Hickson. Let's look at the touchdown.
Well, take a look at this now as this play unfolds. Vedrill's in the backfield. He's coming in motion. That's the guy who's going to be wide open. They fake the run. Frazier sells the run fake, and nobody picked up Vedrill as he came out of the backfield, and he ends up wide open down the field. It's a great play design. They had him lined up as a fullback. He snuck out, and nobody saw him coming. Next thing you knew, it was a touchdown for Nebraska.
That touchdown pass was the 3rd of the day for Frazier. Equals his career best since a freshman, and Miller was brought down by Farley. The 7th sack for the black shirts. And Farley is a little shaken up. Seems to be a total breakdown in protecting the quarterback. Maybe the understatement of the day.
Well, they have not been able to run the football with any effectiveness today. Whenever you one-dimensionalize your football team, you play right into the hands of a good defense. Right now, Nebraska knows all Kansas State can do. The only thing they can do to us is try to line up in the shotgun and throw the football. We feel we've got great speed rushers on the outside. We don't have to play run. All we have to do is find the quarterback and go get him. That's what they're doing. 7 sacks on the day, and part of that is breakdown and protection, and part of it is Nebraska has good pass rushers.
Let's go back to John Saunders. John? All right, John, back here, 3:26 to play in the 3rd quarter. Almost picked off by number 46, Doug Coleman. The 6'3", 245-pound senior from Ventnor, New Jersey, almost had himself an interception. The pass was intended for the tight end, Brian Loika.
Well, again, you know, Kansas State has just had so many 3rd down and long yardage situations that they've had to face this Nebraska defense in, and it's hard to convert. The longer your yardage needed, the harder the percentages are. Look at that, 9 situations where they've needed 10 yards or more. You can't convert 3rd downs against a team as good as Nebraska. Their average yards needed on 3rd down today has been 14 yards. Going to have a long day against any good defense with that.
But it has been that, Todd, for Kansas State. Remember, they faked the punt already successfully once today as they get set to punt on 4th and 16. Whistle down on the field.
Dead ball, delay of game, Kansas State, 5 yards, 2 foul.
And a part of the homecoming festivities here, a look at our homecoming queen, Shelley Moses, and our homecoming king, Jason Newhouse. Newhouse is the son of Larry and Karen Newhouse of Bennington. James Garcia punting from his 32, shanks it, and he gets a fortuitous bounce. And it's down at the 22-yard line.
Good work, partner.
Well, Monday night, Jeff Fahey stars as the Marshal, ABC's Action Monday. And on ABC's Monday Night Football after that, Jim Kelly and the Buffalo Bills take on Drew Bledsoe and the New England Patriots, who are struggling this year. That begins at 8 Eastern Time, 7 Central, right here on ABC. Tommy Frazier still in at quarterback with Nebraska leading 42-6. The pitch to Amon Green. Good defense that time by Chuck Marlowe, the safety, who came up to make the initial hit. About just how important is safety play when you're playing against the option? That time, Marlowe seemed to be in the right position.
Well, your safeties have to be real involved in your run support and supporting the outside option, because particularly with this defense, the corners like to play man-to-man, so they're running down the field with the wide receivers. The safeties have to come out and be the outside run support. As you take a look at Amon Green, 78 yards, averaging nearly 5 yards a carry. That's below his average for the season, but
Kansas State minus 4 yards rushing. Little waggle. Complete to the tight end, Jackson. Jackson tackled out of bounds at the 31-yard line by Marlowe once again. Jackson caught a touchdown pass from Frazier earlier today, going high and getting his feet down.
That was a nice job by Tommy Frazier finding the underneath receiver. He was actually trying to go deep, but Clester Johnson and Riley Washington looked like they kind of ran into each other. One of them went to the ground. He did a nice job finding the underneath receiver, his tight end Jackson.
I'm impressed by the way that Tommy Frazier handles the ball. Really a skill that is lost sometimes. 3rd down and 2, 2:16 to play in the 3rd quarter. Green has the 1st down. And you see how many yards he gets after the initial hit. We'd like to pause 5 seconds now to allow our ABC stations to identify themselves.
Green stopped on the play by Chuck Barlow.
This is KETV,
I'm Mark
Channel
Jones in
7,
the house, along
Omaha.
with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins here in Lincoln, Nebraska on a beautiful, clear, sunny Saturday afternoon. With 2:07 remaining in the 3rd quarter, Nebraska leads Kansas State 42-6. Both teams at 2-0 in the conference and 6-0 overall. Nebraska came in here 24-point favorites, and right now they are leading big time. They've led from the beginning. Frazier on the play action. Going for Washington. Boy, there was a lot of bumping and jostling down there, but no call. Gordon and Marlowe in on the coverage.
Joe Gordon is one of the best man-to-man cover guys in the country. Number one, he's going to run downfield stride for stride with Riley Washington. Marlowe's going to help out from his free safety position, but Gordon is right in position. Riley's got the great speed, but Gordon is in great position to make a play on the ball. Good no call by the officials there. Nice coverage downfield by Joe Gordon.
As a result, it's 2nd down and 10.
You see Tommy Frazier calling checks to his wide receivers. They check off in their running game as much as any team in the country.
Amon Green trying to get a block from Brendan Holbein, and he stopped up at the 47-yard line, about 5 yards short of the 1st down. Downstairs to Dean Blevins. Dean?
Guys, Farley will return. Nebraska hasn't had an injury all day. Farley was kicked in the stomach, but he will return. That pitch from Tommy Frazier was a little hard. Amon Green made a good catch on it. I always felt that, you kind of get messed around with statistics. If an option quarterback, if you complete 10 pitches, don't you think you ought to get 1 completion in terms of forward passing?
Terrell Farley, great special teams player. 3rd down and 6. Tim Colston came down the line to make a shoestring tackle that time on Tommy Frazier. And Frazier comes up limping just a little bit.
One of the first times in the whole ball game that they've been stopped on the 3rd down play. That's great pursuit from backside by Tim Colston. Frazier thought he was going to be able to turn up and make the 1st down easily that time, but good work by Colston coming from his defensive tackle position, chasing that play down.
Into punt is Jesse Cush. Didn't know they had a punter today. 2nd punt of the day for the Cornhuskers. Cush gets off a high hanging punt. It comes down to running at the 28-yard line. 10 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter. And as we look at the updated Big 8 conference standings, Nebraska leading right here. Kansas State losing right here. And Kansas playing later today against Oklahoma. A game you can see on ESPN. And Colorado coming back against Iowa State and winning. Nebraska and Kansas State have one common opponent, that being Missouri. And Nebraska defeated Missouri by 27 more points than Kansas State did. The pass by Miller incomplete to running. And that stops the clock with 5 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter.
Miller's just taking a beating in this ball game. I mean, a lot of times the reason you put a quarterback in the shotgun is to start him off 5 yards away from the defense. But again, in this situation, they're not doing a real good job blocking the pass rush of Nebraska. Every time he throws the football, he's getting hit. And I think he's coming out of the ball game. They're going to bring Brian Cavanaugh, his backup, into the ball game.
You have to tip your hat to Miller. He has taken several hard hits today, in particular that one from Jared Comich in the first half that nearly decapitated him. 5 seconds to play in the third quarter, second down and 10. Kavanaugh doesn't waste any time throwing, completes the running at the 32-yard line. And that will be the last play of the third quarter. You know what, folks? I can hear my fraternity brothers at Sigma Alpha Epsilon jamming right now on homecoming weekend. We'll return with more action between Kansas State and Nebraska after this message and a word from our ABC in Nebraska. I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins, as we begin the fourth quarter of play. Nebraska leads Kansas State 42-6. In a battle between two unbeaten teams. Nebraska coming in number 2. K-State number 8. Third down and 5, the quarterback sneak, and we're going to kick it back to John Saunders. Boy, you have to love the job that Tyrone Willingham is doing out on the farm this year.
It's a rare occasion here for Kansas State, a third down and short situation. They've had primarily long yardage situations today on third down. This is a 3rd and 1 for backup quarterback Brian Kavanaugh.
That's out of the eye. They run the option to the wide side. Hickson with room has the first down and then some. And he's hit late out of bounds. There's a flag down, though, before the late hit at the 44-yard line.
They're going to get Dedrick Kelly, the fullback, for a holding penalty on that play. And it's a shame because he didn't need to make the block that he made. Hickson had already turned the corner and easily picked up the first down. The fullback trying to get a block out on the perimeter. They're going to get him with a holding call, I think.
Dedrick Kelly, a fullback who takes pride in his blocking skills. Here's the call.
Illegal block in the back. And a personal foul offsetting penalties against Nebraska.
Look at our third quarter numbers. Those 2 turnovers kind of looming large for Kansas State.
Well, the turnovers and then the rushing yards, again, 164 for Nebraska, well below their season average, but -4 for Kansas State. They just can't get anything going in running the football, and that's given Nebraska the edge in rushing the passer.
Yeah, as you look at that -4 rushing total, head coach Bill Snyder kind of waiting for one of his 2 tailbacks, Hickson or Lawrence, to step up and really take the lead. But right now, it's kind of tailback by committee.
After the penalty, the Wildcats will have the ball 1st and 10.
So the ball on 1st and 10.
41-yard line.
41-yard line. Kavanaugh in at quarterback.
One of the first third down conversions in a long while for Kansas State. It comes in part because of the penalty. They had a penalty go against them and then a personal foul 15-yard penalty go against Nebraska. So the net result is a first down for Kansas State.
Look at our storylines, how we started out. Protecting the quarterback was important, and they haven't gotten it done, Todd.
It was imperative, and Nebraska really put great pressure, 7 sacks and 6 pressures, and they forced Matt Miller out of the ball game. Brian Kavanaugh in now, and they have not been able to stop the big play. Look at that, 15 total plays by Nebraska for 15 yards or more. Whenever you play the Cornhuskers, you've got to be able to stop their big play.
First down and 10. They come on the blitz, the black shirts do. Kavanaugh throws a nice pass, complete to Mitch running near the first down marker at the 42-yard line. Going to be about a yard shy of the first down. Leslie Dennis, the backup corner, providing the coverage on running.
Brian Kavanaugh is a guy that they really like, a backup quarterback, 6'3", 220 pounds from Naperville, Illinois. Of course, he'll probably be the quarterback next year when Matt Miller graduates, but he's a guy that they really like, his arm. He's probably more in the mold of Chad May was for the last couple years for Kansas State. Miller more of a runner, a scrambler. This guy, Brian Kavanaugh, he's more of the pocket passer that they were used to having last year.
Chad May leading this team to the Jeep Eagle Aloha Bowl. Last year, Kavanaugh play fake, eludes the rush, and throws a nice pass complete at the 24-yard line to Mitch running. An 18-yard pickup and another first down. Mike Fullman getting beaten on that play.
This is a long route. It takes a while to develop. You're going to see running really push the defender downfield, look back to the inside, and break it to the corner. Kavanaugh did a super job stepping up in the pocket, avoiding the sack. And again, another guy was turned loose up there by the Nebraska defensive front. Terwilliger came on the blitz that time. He was not picked up very well by the tailback Hickson, but Kavanaugh was able to step up in the pocket and buy some extra time.
I kind of like this quarterback so far. He's 3 of 3 for 31 yards. Out of the shotgun. Make that 4 for 4. A first down at the 8-yard line.
I think part of the advantage that Kavanaugh has is his stature, being 6'3". He has a better ability to see downfield, to see over the bodies. Matt Miller's only 6'1", and he has to get out of the pocket a little bit to see. Again, down the field, a long developing route. Mitch Running does a nice job coming back to his quarterback, and Kavanaugh puts it where you want to put it in the middle of the field, low. You want to throw that ball high when you're throwing into the middle.
First down and 10. First down and goal. Make that from the 7-yard line. Running, lining up now. Slot left. He gets it off in time. Complete touchdown, Kansas State. Give it to Mitch Running. He deserved it. He got them down there, and you got to go back to him to pay it off. A 7-yard strike. And Kansas State with only its second touchdown of the game.
Take a look. Here's Running here. He's going to run the little out route. They'll run off with this receiver. Nice little combination route. One guy runs to the corner, Running the little wheel back outside, and a good throw by Kavanaugh under pressure because he was getting blitzed from the backside. He hung in there and made the nice throw to Kavanaugh, or to Running.
And Kavanaugh steps back as they call time down on the field. Kind of tough, always tough for a backup quarterback to come in these kind of conditions and get things going. It's a tall order with his team trailing by so much, but he's shown a lot of poise so far, and I've been impressed with the way that he's thrown the ball, even whether it's rolling out or sitting back in the pocket. Bill Snyder, winningest coach in Kansas State history, hoping to take his team to a New Year's Bowl Day game, but it's a tall order in the Big 8 Conference. So many colorful things happening this weekend here in Lincoln. The exclamation point of that, this afternoon's football game on homecoming weekend. And right now, here's some of the sights and sounds of today's game. Last score. Lincoln, Nebraska, really one of the more special places when it comes to college football, Todd. You walk around campus, you walk around town, everyone, and I mean everyone, talks football.
And everyone wears red. They do two things. They talk about football and they dress up in red.
Kavanaugh into the end zone. Incomplete, and it's broken up. Tries to find Running again. And Eric Stokes broke up the pass. A look at the two-point conversion attempt. Broken up by the Blackshirts. Old Wilson 1001 ball bouncing Nebraska's way all day today. They lead 42-12 with 13:07 to play. Dramatica with the kickoff. It's Clinton Child. Self-proclaimed outcast is roughed up out of bounds at the 20. We're going to take it back to John Saunders in New York. John? A cold rag for my partner over here. Damon Benning with his first carry of the afternoon out to the 21-yard line. You know, speaking of number 21, Benning, it has been a very difficult year for him. He has star potential, he does. But the runner out of Omaha, Nebraska has gone through a lot. He was falsely accused of assault on his ex-girlfriend. And it's a shame that this young man had to undergo some of the scrutiny that he did, because it's unfortunate that sometimes the headlines never catch up with the truth. But the young man has dealt with it very well, and he has come back, although he has been slowed by knee and hamstring injuries this year. Had a chance to visit with Damon during the course of the week. He's really a nice young man. Has a lot of talent. 2nd down and 10. Benning again. Nice tackle that time.
Wow.
At the 18-yard line, Todd.
What a great play by Chris Canty. Just a super job again, taking on the block on the outside and making the play.
Look at our games next week on ABC. Regional action. Most of you will see a Big 8 game. Nebraska, Colorado. USC against Washington. Florida against Georgia. And Minnesota will take on Michigan. That starts at 3:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Central. And don't forget to call your cable operator for the games available on pay-per-view. 3rd down and 12. Frazier still in at quarterback. The play fake. Throws a pass complete to Riley Washington. And Washington is just short of the 1st down at the 29. And downstairs to our man, Dean the Dream. Dean?
Hey, Mark, next year the Big 8 adds 4 teams from the Southwest Conference, and that will make up a very powerful Big 12 conference. Take a look at where the teams that will comprise the Big 12 ranked currently in the AP rankings. Nebraska, Kansas, Kansas State, Colorado, and Oklahoma in the top 15. There you see the 4 schools from Texas, and you can bank on A&M bouncing back from and maybe making this league the strongest in college football.
I'll agree with that, Dean. It sure will be. An exciting time for the prospective Big 12 conference. Jesse Cush almost had it blocked. K-State coming after that time. Fair catch called for at the 36-yard line by Mitch Running. They're making a lot of noise at P.O. Pears and Kabooms right now. It's all Nebraska. We'll be right back. Some of Todd Blackledge's best friends right there. 10:43 to play in Lincoln.
See, they got to go to class on Monday looking with their hair looking like that, too.
Kavanaugh to pass. You know what? Him and Mitch Running really have that connection thing happening right now. Running making another reception. And Kavanaugh is 6 for 6. Most of those going to Mitch Running. In fact, my crack stat man, Roger Riley, says they've all been to Running. Nose of the ball at the 43-yard line. Number 2 ranked Nebraska Cornhuskers have dominated today since the opening kick. The handoff to Lawrence. Nowhere to go. The Thomas brothers, pardon me, the Peter brothers, stacking it up on the inside. Help from Jared Thomas.
Take a look at Bill Snyder there. Now, obviously, today has not been the kind of day he had hoped for, but look at those numbers in the 90s. 41, 21, and 1. 19 more games in half the decade of the 90s than they won in the entire decade of the 80s. In fact, Kansas State closed out the 80s 1-36-1. I mean, the job that Bill Snyder has done here cannot be it just can't be underestimated. He's done a terrific job with this Wildcat program.
Amen to that. A blitz off the corner. Kavanaugh lucky to get rid of it in time without losing his head. Intended for Brian Loika. And it's the final now. Notre Dame has defeated USC. Boy, the Trojans just have buzzard's luck at Notre Dame.
That one really surprises me. I thought USC was going to go undefeated this year. We've covered them 2 times this season. But Lou Holtz, tip your hat to him. I mean, he finds a way to get it done, and he obviously got the best out of his Irish team today.
Yeah, you can see USC try and rebound next week here on ABC as they play against the University of Washington out in Seattle. Garcia punting from his 29-yard line. Damon Benning standing on his own 18. They fake it for the 2nd time today. And what a hit. The pass complete, but what a hit. At the 40-yard line.
Garcia's probably going to go to Bill Snyder and say, hey, I think I should maybe line up as quarterback some next week. He's 2 for 2, and he's looked pretty good both times. Take a look at it again. He shows punt. He rises up. He's got good poise in the pocket. He doesn't overstride. And a nice touch throw to the sideline. That's good work that time by the punter, Garcia.
Mario Smith, the starting safety, making the reception. Well, on the 45, 1st down for Kansas State. Mitch running, split wide to the bottom of your screen. Downfield, incomplete, intended for Jimmy Dean. It was right in his arms.
That was just a case where Jimmy Dean was thinking about turning upfield and taking it down towards the end zone. He lost his concentration because you're right, Mark. That ball was thrown perfectly from Kavanaugh, and Dean got a little bit antsy, wanted to turn upfield and make a big play.
Kavanaugh doing his best right now to impress the coaches, in particular Bill Snyder.
And in fairness to Matt Miller, too, it is a little bit easier to come into the game when you're down 42-6 or 42-7, which it was when he first entered the ball game. A lot of subs in there now for Nebraska, but Kavanaugh looks good throwing the football. He's got a lot of life in his arm.
They come on the blitz. Picked up and caught by Mitch running. Great escapability by the quarterback, Kavanaugh, and a nice effort to come back to it by running.
You know what Kavanaugh did so well on that play, Mark, is he knew that he was getting rid of the ball before running was going to be expecting it. So he put extra amount of air under the football so he would allow his receiver, once he turned, to see that the ball was in the air. Watch as he sees the pressure. The blitz is coming. There's one man unblocked. He just puts it up and puts a lot of air under it so that when running makes his break, he has time to come back and make the catch. Nice touch on that ball by Brian Kavanaugh.
Todd, he's 7 of 9 for a total of 85 yards since coming in for Matt Miller. Out of the shotgun. Is it complete? Yes, it is. For a first down at the 10-yard line to Kevin Lockett, leading receiver for the Wildcats, with another reception. Pick up a 14.
Take a look at this reverse angle coming at you again, Matt. Brian Kavanaugh standing tall in the pocket, 6'3", does a nice job again. Better protection this time by Kansas State, and a nice throw in the curl route to Kevin Lockett. And I'm impressed with how all three of these receivers, Lockett, Schweiger, and Running, catch the football with their hands. They don't let that ball get to their body. They catch it with their hands.
8.5 to play. Kavanaugh completes it. Back to the line of scrimmage. Back to John Saunders, who's got some pretty good hands.
Backs in the country right there, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. If you've not seen him play and you get an opportunity, tune in, because he really is a special running back. Obviously, Ahman Green and some of the guys that run here from Nebraska, great tailbacks, but Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, one of the best.
We talked about Kavanaugh's impressive numbers since coming in. There they are. Second down into the end zone. Incomplete for Lockett. Coverage that time by Leslie Dennis. And it'll be third down now with 7:38 to play. Lockett, the school leader in touchdown receptions. 6', 175-pound junior from Tulsa, Oklahoma. Third down. The front four will be coming for Nebraska. Black shirts have done a great job today. And the fans bring the noise. Kavanaugh, touchdown. Lockett. A 10-yard strike and a touchdown for the Wildcats, to their all-time touchdown receiver.
Here's Lockett right here. He's just going to run the quick post, and it's going to be a perfect pass from Kavanaugh. Good protection up front. You see Lockett break it to the inside. A lot of room the defender giving him on that particular play. Leslie Dennis was beat for the touchdown. Nice route by Kevin Lockett.
Once again, I don't mean to belabor the point, but you have to feel good for Kavanaugh, even though, as you mentioned, it is a little bit easier to come in when you're facing the second team. But then again, you look at the second team for Nebraska, that's the first team in any other school.
Yeah, he's been impressive. I mean, Kavanaugh has thrown the ball well and has been very impressive.
On the two-point conversion, got a whistle. Let's wait for the call here, and don't forget, coming up next on ABC, great baseball game.
Dead ball, false start, illegal snap on a Kansas State. Repeat the untimed down. 5-yard penalty.
Coming up next on ABC, the World Series Game 1, the Indians against the Braves. It'll be Hershiser against Maddox. The best pitching team in Atlanta and the best hitting team in Cleveland. That's the way it really should be.
Yeah. It was a long season and a lot of ups and downs for baseball, but in the final analysis, the two best teams are going at it.
Grammatica with the extra point. And it's 42-19. We'll be right back. 8 game coming up next week. The boys from Boulder taking on the Cornhuskers. What do you think?
Well, they got a scare a little bit today early against Iowa State. Colorado did, but they came back and won impressively. But they're going to have to play a great game against Nebraska. This Nebraska is as good as any team in the country right now.
Hessler has come in for Colorado at quarterback and done an outstanding job. Clinton Childs returning it out to the 24-yard line. When you look at Clinton Childs, you know, I talked earlier about Damon Benning, the media scrutiny, the pressure of being a student athlete. Clinton Childs had a couple of parking tickets. Now, it was written up in one of the papers, and sometimes I really wonder how important it is to report that a student athlete has parking tickets. These guys face so much pressure, and sometimes it's unfair.
Well, there's a lot of scrutiny under normal circumstances, but particularly it seems like after a college football team wins a national championship, the scrutiny increases. I think it happened with Nebraska. It happened to Florida State the year they won it. It happened to Colorado a couple years ago. It's just something that kind of goes with the territory, but I think overall Tom Osborne and the program here are dealing with it pretty well.
I mean, I've got parking tickets, but it's nobody else's business. 6:55 to play. Matt Turman in at quarterback for the Cornhuskers. On the option, David Benning out to the 24-yard line. Got back to the line of scrimmage. Tackled by Ox. Oaks making the tackle, and there's a look at quarterback Matt Turman. 2 of 4 last year against Kansas State, filling in for Beringer and Frazier. And another big story, the defense, Christian Peter and Jason Peter. You know, these two guys really get after it. Sometimes not unusual to see them going after each other during a game. They work well together, though. Roommates, living together in an off-campus apartment. Turman to pass for Riley Washington, incomplete. Riley Washington using some of that 10-2-5 100-meter speed to get open behind Chris Canty on the play.
Washington has great speed. His hands are ever improving, and you know, he's kind of getting back into the action. You can see a lot of contact with Chris Canty, but he gets by Canty, and the ball is really thrown in a pretty good position by Turman. Turman didn't throw the ball all that much so far this year, but that was a pretty good throw by the third-team quarterback, Matt Turman.
And that's Mitch Running, who has been on the other end of Kavanaugh's catches today. Bill LaFleur into punt. They come after it and get it. This could be a freebie. A Caravan takes it into the end zone. Clyde Johnson gets the touchdown for the Wildcats.
A punt blocked and recovered in the end zone by number 40, Clyde Johnson.
Take a look. Good pressure right up the middle. I think it's Chuck Marlowe, the strong safety, number 21, who came through the middle and got the block. And then the touchdown by Kansas State. Great pressure coming right up the middle, right over the center position. A good snap by Aaron Graham. No, it wasn't Marlowe. I think it might have been Mario Smith, number 4. Those were the two guys that were in there. Good work.
And Johnson pounces on the loose pill. And Kansas State is going to attempt a 2-point conversion.
Well, they wanted to go for 2 the last time, but the problem was they had the illegal snap penalty that backed them up 5 yards, and they had to kick the extra point. Now they're calling timeout to set up their 2-point play. But back to that block kick, Mark. This is the 75th game for Kansas State under Bill Snyder, and it's their 15th punt block. So they've that's something they've done well under Bill Snyder. 15 now under Bill Snyder.
One of those parts of the game that is so very important that sometimes goes unnoticed. We'll be right back. Here undefeated at 6-0, trailing now by 17 points, attempting a 2-point conversion with 5:59 to play. They come out in a trip right formation. Kavanaugh, incomplete, intended for running.
It's just too hard of a throw. I mean, he threw it too hard to throw it that high. I mean, if you throw it that hard, you got to keep it down low where he can go down and kind of cradle that catch. Ran a little wheel route where he moved to the inside and then spun back to the outside, but that ball had a lot of juice on it for a short throw.
The margin, 17 points. I think that's a little dangerous for Nebraska still with about 6 minutes to play.
Well, I think it might be because Kansas State obviously feeling pretty good about what they're getting accomplished with Brian Cavanaugh. They still have all their first-team defenders in. They haven't conceded the game. Nebraska, on the other hand, was doing a lot in terms of substituting. They've already taken a lot of their starters out of the game. Now, whoever is in the game for Nebraska offensively, no matter what players it are, if they go back to Terman and get a quarterback, they've got to kind of pick up the tempo a little bit and try to move the football.
Dean, your thoughts on the sidelines?
Well, I'm not so sure that Frazier isn't going back in. I would suspect that he will. And over on the Kansas State sideline, where it's been down for much of the day, they are re-enthused, and Cavanaugh really getting the job done, talking to Snyder about the offensive attack. And Todd, I think one of the things with Cavanaugh, who is much stronger after lifting weights in the offseason, is his height. Yeah, being, they list Matt Miller at 6'1", probably closer to 6 feet. He's got 3 inches on the guy, finds the lanes a lot better.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right, and some of these pass rushers for Nebraska are tall guys, 6'4", 6'5".
John Federal, a member of the Good Hands team for the Cornhuskers, recovering the onside kick at the 43-yard line. And just a reminder that next week's games, you got another Big 8 battle for you. Nebraska going down to Boulder to take on the Buffaloes. USC, Washington, Florida, Georgia, and Minnesota, Michigan. Don't forget, starts at 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, and check your cable operator for the pay-per-view games available in your area. And time permitting, folks, we'll be back with the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report, scores and highlights. Tommy Frazier back in the game as predicted by my quarterbacking colleagues. And Amon Green runs for about 8 yards. Picked up on the sideline. As mentioned, if we have time, Thrifty Car Rental post-game report. Makovica springing loose Amon Green on that last run. Green now rushing 19 times for a total of 102 yards, and we have an injured Wildcat player down at the 50-yard line. You know, Todd, looking at Kansas State, there were a lot of skeptics that were saying before this game, yeah, they're 6-0. They've played like Tarzan, but their schedule looked like Jane. Yeah. It's got to be disheartening for them to leave Lincoln having not performed up to this point the way they wanted to.
Well, I think you got to keep in mind also that Nebraska may be the best team in the country that they're playing. I mean, this is not a team that maybe is on the same level as them right now. This is an outstanding Nebraska football team, and you're playing in their building in front of 70,000 of their fans. So, this is not an easy place to come in and play, and certainly Kansas State has not.
On Green over the 30 down to the 28-yard line. Let's assume that Nebraska hangs on to win here this afternoon. This is what the Big 8 standings would look like. Nebraska 3-0, Kansas State falling to 2-1 if they should lose, and the big game tonight in the Big 8, Oklahoma taking on Kansas.
Yeah, the hopes of the Sunflower State now fall on the Jayhawks tonight, going against those Sooners. It's been a lot of excitement in the state of Kansas. Both teams undefeated, both ranked in the top 10 coming into this week's action, but also both playing against very formidable foes this weekend.
During this break, let's take a look at some other programming here on ABC. Back in Lincoln with 4:55 to play. Dean Blevins, you've seen the Big 8, both as a player and as a commentator, take its relative twists and turns. Your thoughts on it?
Well, on the Big 8 in general, Nebraska is the class of the field. Colorado is solid. Kansas State hasn't played anybody, but they are, of course, a good club. And maybe a comment on Oklahoma and Kansas in a moment.
All right. It is 2nd down and 6 to go. Tommy Frazier back in at quarterback. 2 tights and 2 wides. They run it to Amon Green, who's tackled at the 26-yard line. And an An update on that Penn State score. Another touchdown from Richardson to Engel. And we have a flag down at the 21-yard line.
We got Mario Smith, the free safety, mixing it up with John Vedral, the wide receiver. We talked about how these wide receivers block downfield. I mean, there's only 4 minutes and 40 seconds left in the game, but the wide receivers for Nebraska, they got to find something to keep them into the game and excited. They don't get many balls thrown to them, so the next thing that they can do is try to block downfield in their running game, and that's a big key of why Nebraska has so much success running the football, how well their receivers block downfield.
A pensive Bill Snyder on the sidelines, watching this penalty marked off against his team. And you were mentioning Mario Smith being blocked on by Vedral. Smith was the unknown or unrecognized member of the secondary until this year. He says, we want to be #1 in pass defense in the country this year. And he has become known as a real hard hitter. 4:43 to play. Backside of the eye, McAvicker and Green.
There again, you see Tommy Frazier late in the ball game. They're still checking off in their running game, trying to find the best place to run the football.
They run over the right side of the line, over the tackle, Eric Anderson and Steve Ott, getting a couple of yards that time.
You know, Dean, if you can hear me, the thing that they do with their running game and trying to look for weaknesses, they try to outflank you in the running game, don't they? Isn't that the premise behind what Nebraska does running the football?
No question. It's just like a game of chess, and the offensive team gets the last move. The quarterback will make the audibles, and Frazier is just impeccable at doing that, and you try to get the numbers on the corner, and they do that so often.
Turner Gill, the quarterbacking coach here at Nebraska, is really singing the praises of Frazier and his ability to make plays. And here's another one, but it's incomplete. Brendan Holbein caught it, made a nice grab. Unfortunately, it was out of bounds. Joe Gordon providing the coverage that time for the Wildcats.
Joe Gordon is about as good as I've seen. Take a look at it coming at you from the reverse angle. They fake the option. Frazier really makes a nice throw rolling to his left. The ball's in the only place that it can possibly be, but Joe Gordon just kind of, with his body, worked Holbein out of the end zone. Clearly a good call by the officials and good work by Gordon, just using the sideline as an extra defender. He works him out of bounds so that when Holbein makes the catch, the left foot clearly out of bounds.
Gordon, an all-conference candidate once again. 3rd and 9. Shovel to Amon Green. Green breaks the tackle. What about balance?
He's hurt, though.
Green holding his left leg.
I think he took a helmet right down around his left ankle that time, but he was still able to keep his balance. You can see he wants to get off the field, but just terrific lower body strength and balance. Take a look at this again. I think Joe Gordon's the guy that his helmet hit the leg of Amon Green. Take a look, the shovel pass. You see how Frazier's patient with it, how he options Dirk Oaks. He makes Oaks commit, and then watch the balance by Green. There you see the hit right on the ankle. Great balance by Amon Green, just turning and spinning and falling into the end zone.
I'll tell you what happened. Amon Green really turned over that left ankle. Green came down, hand walking, and turned that ankle. He's limping off the field.
Take a look again now as the play comes at us. The shovel pass set up well by Frazier, and watch as the hit's going to come in. Right there as he comes down, you can see he turned his ankle right there. He popped up off the ground. And
big hit by Mario Smith that time.
Credit the young freshman also, too. He knew he was hurt. The ankle had to be hurt, and he stayed on his feet and took it into the end zone.
Dean, that's guts, isn't it?
Well, it sure is, and I'm looking at the ankle right now. The trainers are pretty cooperative up here. They said it is a sprain. They don't have any idea how serious, but it does not look serious from here, but it is an ankle sprain.
Amon Green, the 4th starting tailback this year for Nebraska. You talk about depth. They've got it.
I think Joe Gordon, kind of got his bell rung. That was his head that was down there around the leg and took a shot.
And Mario Smith also in the neighborhood. Look at Amon Green, the freshman from Omaha, Nebraska. Some impressive numbers today. 109 yards on 22 rushes.
Well, he's going to break a record of Calvin Jones this year. I mean, coming into the game, he was 285 yards behind the freshman rushing record at Nebraska, held by Calvin Jones, who in 1991 ran for 900 yards. And Amon Green, with several games left in this season, now closing in on that mark rapidly.
You know, it really helps when you have that 10.5 100-meter speed as well. And Coach Osborne and the staff saying that he can be one of the best in the history of Nebraska rushers. It's a long, impressive list. And by the way, that was a touchdown pass by Tommy Frazier. Yeah. And it's the 4th of the afternoon, which ties Nebraska's single-game record.
I think this Nebraska team, Mark, is better than the team that won the national championship last year. And I think it's because they've got a healthy Tommy Frazier. I mean, he clearly makes the difference for this football team. And last year they were undefeated. They won the national championship, but they did it some with Frazier, some with Behringer, even some with Matt Turman. Now they've got Tommy Frazier healthy the whole year as a thrower, as a runner. I mean, he makes this a better football team than they were a year ago.
Speaking with him at practice on Thursday, he was telling me he spent a lot of time here in Lincoln during the course of the summer, did not return to Florida, did not return home, stayed here, worked on his passing, got in the weight room, got bigger, got a little stronger, more accurate passing. Says that he wants to do a television internship this summer when he returns back home to Florida. He's a communications major. Take another look at that run by Amon Green.
You see a pile up right there, and Mario Smith, and here comes Gordon at the end of the play. He's going to get hit by his own guy, I think. Yeah, he just banged heads, I think possibly with Purcell Gaskins coming from the other side, and just one of those freak injuries, and the trainers being very cautious down there, which they should. Anytime you get a head or a neck injury, the doctors try to take extreme caution to make sure the player's all right. Here they come, just like a collision, two Rams almost coming at each other, and you could see Gordon clearly got the worst of that collision.
And Deshaun Fogle as well, taking a big hit on that play. Fogle, the 6'2", 235-pound junior. As we look at Amon Green. Dean, what's up downstairs?
Well, an ambulance has been called by the medical staff on the Kansas State sideline. I'm sure we won't get anything verified when he's taken in, but that is a precautionary sign, but also not a good one.
Amon Green with a great day last week, ran for 90 yards. And this week has surpassed that total. Can only hope that Deshaun Fogle is okay. This is homecoming week, and you are looking at the 200 and functioning. Good news for all of us as Chris Brown now attempts the extra point for the Cornhuskers after that touchdown run by Amon Green.
The extra point is good.
The genuine Chevrolet MVPs of the game are Mitch Running. Kansas State running with 9 receptions for 73 yards today and a touchdown. And Tommy Frazier of Nebraska. Frazier 10 of 16 passing, 148 yards, and a school record 4 touchdown passes. That ties the school record, and 6 rushes for a total of 36 yards. In celebrating its 25th year of the NCAA sponsorship, Chevrolet will donate $1,000 to each school's general scholarship fund to reward outstanding students for their academic achievements and to assist those in financial need. I'm Mark Jones, along with Todd Blackledge and Dean Blevins, on a glorious Saturday afternoon, fall afternoon here in Lincoln, Nebraska. Showdown between two Big 8 powers. It has been Nebraska all the way from the beginning. They led 7-0. At one point scored 28 unanswered points and lead now 49-25 with 3:43 to play in the game. It has been a very special week, homecoming week here in Lincoln. This is Jimmy Dean, 4 yards deep. And the Wildcats will start off on their own 20-yard line. 22 Jimmy Dean. So you've got some certain criteria about what it takes to be the big winner.
Yeah, I think if you look at all the teams that are rated in the top 5, the undefeated teams, they all have to have certain things in common. Number one, you need offensive balance. Maybe not 50-50 run pass, but you've got to be able to do both. Nebraska has that. Solid run defense. We've seen a great example of that today. You have to have good chemistry. Guys that like playing together, friendly with one another, and good leadership, and you got to stay healthy. And right now, Nebraska fits all 4 of those criteria, and that's why I think they are definitely to be considered one of the best, if not the best team in the country right now.
Trying to convince the pollsters. 3:43 to play. They come on a blitz. Kavanaugh got rocked by Grant Winstrom, and now he is down. And don't forget, those of you expecting to see the World Series Game 1, you will not miss any of the action. We guarantee that. It's Cleveland against Atlanta, Game 1. So stay tuned. It's coming up right after this football game.
Kavanaugh got hit real high on that particular play. You know, he's in a vulnerable position as he let go of the football and took a helmet right up under the chin, and showing he's got a little toughness about him as well coming up after that hit. Nebraska's put all their starters back in on defense, too. They didn't want this game to get any closer. And
dead ball, false start on the offense, 5 yards, repeat second down.
The left tackle that time, Chris Saltman's moving prematurely.
And that's one of those cases where some of those guys were probably over there taking the tape off their wrists and their shoes, and next thing you know, Charlie McBride saying, "Hey guys, back in the ball game."
And Charlie McBride, one of the more colorful defensive coordinators in college football, had a nice visit with him this week. Cornhuskers bringing some people, and this one almost picked off by Tony Veland. You know what? That's a picture we've seen all day. And Tony Veland, number 9 right there, is going to hear about that from some of his teammates. They are going to dog him big time because he might have or should have had an interception on that run.
I'm not saying this is true 100% of the time, Mark, but in most cases, defensive backs, corners and safeties are better athletes than receivers. They're faster normally. The biggest difference is receivers have better hands. A lot of the reason why guys end up playing defensive back is because they just can't catch the ball consistently. And that was a case there where Tony Veland had a perfect chance for an interception, couldn't make the grab.
I'll pass that on to some of my DB buddies. Kavanaugh rolling out. And that's an instant replay. Mitch running. A pickup of 17 yards and a first down. Stops the clock with 3:28 to play. Mitch running, the senior, 6 feet, 185 pounds. Very prolific here in the second half. Has 10 catches today on the day for a total of 110 yards. Now look at the Peter brothers. You know, you look at their size.
They got another brother, Damian, that's younger than them, that's at Notre Dame. He's bigger than the 2 of them. He's 6'7".
Unbelievably big and strong. A pass complete to Tyson Schweiger that time. Kavanaugh eluding the rush. Tackled by Mike Minner. And don't forget our games next Saturday. You'll see Nebraska, Colorado, or USC, Washington, Florida, Georgia, or Minnesota against Michigan. Get to call your cable operator. The game's available on pay-per-view. It all starts 3:30 Eastern, 2:30 Central, and coming up next, Game 1 of the World Series, Cleveland against Atlanta. Kavanaugh fires incomplete, intended for Kevin Lockett. Michael Booker providing the coverage that time.
You know, one more note on the Peter brothers, Mark. They've got the 3 huge brothers. They also have a little sister named Ashley who's 8 years old. And, I mean, can you imagine being the first boyfriend that she brings home to meet the family, walking in the house and seeing those 3 guys? Wow.
And they got to deal with Dad, too.
Oh, man.
Yeah, they're big guys. They eat a lot at the family restaurant Fromagerie, located in Rumson, New Jersey. And I hear the cuisine there is very delicious. Downfield intended for Lockett, incomplete at the 43-yard line. Mike Minter, the strong safety from Lawton, Oklahoma, on the coverage. Peter brothers out of Locust, New Jersey.
Wild games, some high-scoring games going on in college football today. Stanford and UCLA, and Colorado and Iowa State turned into a high-scoring affair. Penn State and Iowa.
We look at Christian, Peter. Here's a guy who bench presses over 450 pounds. Movement up front on the left side of the Kansas State line. Look at the other two Big 8 games today. Colorado storming back to defeat Iowa State 50-28. And the Cowboys bouncing back from their loss last week against Kansas State. And don't forget that Kansas takes on Oklahoma later on ESPN time.
A couple good running backs the Kansas Jayhawks have. Henley and Levine. They can both run the football. Glenn Mason, the head coach at Kansas, has done a great job, as has Bill Snyder here with Kansas State. They really have turned the football fortunes around for those two programs.
Don't forget, coming up next, game 1 of the World Series. Kavanaugh sacked back at the 41-yard line, the 8th time they've put the Kansas State quarterback on his back behind the line of scrimmage today. Jason Wiltz making the sack that time.
In order to play great defense, you've got to play great up front, and I think Nebraska, with the two Peter brothers on the inside, those are their two big guys. Then they've got Wistrom and Tomich on the outside that are a little bit smaller and leaner, but really fast and can rush upfield. They play with a great intensity, and if you're an offensive football team coming in to play Nebraska, you've got to get your offensive linemen to up their intensity level to match theirs, because if not, they're going to steamroll you, and that's what they did to Kansas State in the first half. They steamrolled the offensive line of Kansas State in that first half.
And assuming that Nebraska hangs on to win, this is a look at the updated Big 8 standings. Nebraska going to Boulder to take on Colorado next week. Garcia into punt with 2:46 to play. And we have a whistle. I'm not sure they got the playoff in time.
I think the clock ran out on them.
Seen that happen a few times to the Wildcats today. Here's the call.
Dead ball, delay a game, Kansas State, 5 yards, repeat fourth down.
That's their 14th penalty of the day, for a total of 113 yards. That's Damon Benning standing on his own 39. Clock running with 2:35 to play. Letting it bounce, and it rolls down to the 33-yard line where it's down by Chris Canty. Syracuse starting to move a little bit this week in the Big 8.
Syracuse really the only team that is playing consistently well in the Big East right now, sitting atop the Big East by a pretty comfortable margin. See Virginia Tech, they started out slow, lost their first 2 games. They've come back now and won 5 in a row, so they've got it going on down in Blacksburg right now.
Yeah. And a lot of people, Todd, me included, asking, what is up? What's up with that when it comes to the Boston College Golden Eagles? Damon Benning running up the middle. You know, Boston College, their season had so much promise to it, but it's turned around completely on them. Tim Colston on the tackle on Benning.
Boston College and Miami. I mean, it wasn't that long ago that Miami was playing this Nebraska team in the Orange Bowl for the national championship, and Nebraska doesn't seem like they've dropped off at all from last year. Miami has taken a real turn downward.
Game 1 of the World Series is next, folks. Stay tuned. This is Clinton Childs running down to the 39-yard line. Interesting thing about Childs, he has a huge tattoo across his stomach that says Outcast. And I asked him what it was all about. He says, well, you know, Mark, I'm a different type of runner. I'm a different kind of football player. I'm basically a different type of guy.
I didn't see the tattoo, but I saw it written on his shorts. He had it written across the backside of his shorts as well in practice on Thursday. So I guess he wants to be known by that.
Backs out of the eye this time with 1:15 to play. Turman back in the game. Shoots her to fullback. This is James Sims. They have a procession of talented I-backs here at Nebraska, Sims included. Smith on the tackle, Todd.
You know, the other thing that makes this all the more impressive about how Nebraska is producing offensively is the fact that they're doing this without Lawrence Phillips. And whether or not Phillips ever rejoins the team this year is still in question. But Lawrence Phillips was a legitimate Heisman candidate, and we had him against Michigan State early in the season. He ran for over 200 yards. Clearly the best-looking running back in the country, and he's not here. Nebraska has not missed a beat.
They're expecting word on Lawrence Phillips' situation any time now. This is Benning. Run out of bounds at the 41-yard line. And don't forget, coming up next, Cleveland against Atlanta, Hershiser against Maddox. Dean, a quick update from you now on Fogel's condition.
Well, Fogel headed to the hospital, a cervical injury. The trainers I talked to were optimistic, but still they were very cautious. He could move his extremities, and that's what we know at this point.
You would have to agree, I would think, that him being able to move his extremities is a positive sign originally.
Well, you always err on the side of safety and caution in a situation like that, and credits due to the training staffs of both teams and the emergency unit to act so quickly in the case of Deshaun Fogel.
Well, this one is almost over his head. Pass incomplete at the 31-yard line.
The pass from Kavanaugh going incomplete. Penalty flag.
And a look at the updated conference standings now. Nebraska improving to 3-0. Kansas State falling to 2-1. And next week, Colorado will be hosting Nebraska in Boulder. Game you'll see here on ABC, and that man has done an outstanding job with Nebraska this year. A threat to repeat as champs. Look at our schedule next week, beginning at 3:30 Eastern Time, 2:30 Central. Don't forget to call your cable operator for the pay-per-view games available. Hey, let me ask you what you think about the World Series coming up next on ABC. Who do you like?
Well, I like Cleveland. I mean, obviously, my heart says Cleveland, but my head says Cleveland, too. I think their pitching is good enough. It's maybe not as good as Atlanta's, but it's hard to argue that they've got the best offensive team in baseball.
I'm a National League guy, and I'm going to go with the pitching of Atlanta. This pass incomplete at the 12-yard line. Albert Bell, no cork in his bat, just a lot of muscle in his biceps. Greg Maddox pitching tonight for the Atlanta Braves. Down at the launching pad. You can see a lot of fireworks down there. It's not like they don't hit a lot of home runs at Fulton County Stadium. That's Kavanaugh, the second-string quarterback who came in the second half for Matt Miller.
You know, when he first came in, there was a lot of subs in for Nebraska, and they had kind of had a little bit of a letdown in their intensity, and he was able to stand in the pocket, throw, and not get hit. Probably came off the field after the first couple series saying, man, this isn't too tough at all. But ever since they scored a couple touchdowns now, they've started to put him down on the ground as well.
This one almost picked off by Michael Booker. Intended for Kevin Lockett. Well, just want to let the fellows at Sigma Alpha Epsilon know that yours truly will be dropping by for a cold soda after the ball game. They opened up their fraternity house to me earlier this week and really enjoyed myself. It's so easy to get immersed in the college football environment here in Lincoln. Kavanaugh brought down, and that pretty much epitomizes the way this day has gone. From the beginning, it's Cook.
Down the